organization for your benefit so you can be a hero. You are a snake.
Okay, he says I'm too negative. He says I'm a pessimist, whatever. I'm too anti-Trump. So I just said, all right, you know what? I'll just take some time off. I'll just disappear. And
you are a rat. You are a fraud. You are a backstabber. You are a handbiter. You are a disgrace.
What's going on, everybody? Today we're going to talk about two stories. Owen Schroyer has left Infowars. That's Alex Jones's news network. Owen has been basically Alex Jones's right-hand man for a long time now. We're going to look at some of the clips, and I'm going to tell you what I think about him leaving and Alex Jones getting really, really upset that he's basically talking bad about Alex, etc. We're going to go through all that. And then after, I'm going to look at this clip of Coldplay had a few people on stage ask where they were from. They said Israel, and people booed. And then they mentioned something about Palestine, Coldplay did, which really upset Zionists. I'll play a little bit of the clip, but I'm going to get into that second.
Where did you come from today? From Israel. Okay, well. Okay, well, listen.
So at the end of the show, after we talk about Infowars and Alex Jones and Owen, we're going to talk about that. Thank you guys for being here. Give me a thumbs up in the chat if it sounds good. Give me a thumbs up on the video for the algorithm. Dream Rare Podcast starts now.
It's the Dream Rare Podcast. Welcome to the show. The way to get the news at the desk or on the road. Let's go. God is great and success in our control. The world is crazy, but we get better from obstacles. Yeah.
What's going on, everybody? I'm going to get right into the story, and I do have a few clips of Alex and Owen to hear out why they're upset. And I'll tell you what I think about this, because I definitely have some opinions. I've been on Infowars on Owen Shroyer's show before, right before COVID we chatted, or maybe right as COVID was happening, I think, like during 15 Days to Slow the Spread. So I always liked Owen. I mean, Alex is a legend in the game of radio broadcasting and conspiracy theories. But over the last couple of years, you know, just on a personal note, I've not been like the biggest fan of Alex, although, you know, no disrespect or anything, but I'm going to save my opinion for later. Let's just paint the picture of what happened. Here's what Owen Schroyer said, why he wanted to leave Infowars. And of course, he made a really long video. So I picked like a minute 30, 40 minutes or so. A minute and 40 seconds. Like 1 minute or 40 minutes. I don't know. It's one of the two. It's like they're not even close. Here's Owen kind of explaining what was annoying him about Alex, saying he was kind of interrupting me, trying to like force guests on my show. And he said that I was too anti-Trump and too pessimistic. That's what Owen claimed that the criticism from Alex was. Let's look.
you know, Alex had been coming into my show and talking about how I'm negative and calling me a pessimist and all this other stuff, which is fine. You work for Alex, you're going to get hit with it a lot. Alex is not easy to work for, and that's fine. You know, that's okay. But, okay, he says I'm too negative. He says I'm a pessimist, whatever. I'm too anti-Trump. So I just said, all right, you know what? I'll just take some time off. I'll just disappear. And if Alex thinks I'm too negative, then maybe he's right. Maybe he's right. Maybe I'm too negative now. Maybe I'm too much of a pessimist now. Maybe I'm too anti-Trump now. Whatever his issue was when he kept coming in the show, telling me I'm too negative, saying I'm a pessimist on his show, I said, okay, maybe he's right. I'll take some time off. I'll blow off some steam. I'll just get out of the ring for a week. And, you know, maybe I'll come back a little more positive. And you know, maybe there was a level of reality to that. And I think I did come back more positive. But the same issues that I had started up immediately as soon as I came back. And it's not to say that I didn't have creative control over the Infowars war room. But I mean, imagine it's like somebody staring over your back 24/7. And so every single day that I came back, it was either a guest that I was told I had on at the last minute, or it was, you know, him coming into the studio. He wants me to cover this. He wants me to cover that. Or I have to host his show for him because he's not in. So there's nothing consistent for me. I couldn't do what I wanted to do, which I'll explain what I want to do in a second here.
So Owen has a really long video. If you want to go on his Twitter, he says why I left Infowars. That was kind of the gist of it. He said that there were a lot of things going on. I think Owen mentioned that he was getting sued like Alex. Alex told him not to tell the public, but he did in this video. He said, he was always taking blows for Infowars, and, it was a stressful environment, etc. But it seemed like what he said in his words was what I played there. That's why I chose that clip, is he said that Alex kept telling him he's too anti-Trump, he's too negative. And once again, I'll tell you my opinion in a second, but let's just see how Alex handled this real quick. And this is him kind of barging in on Harrison Smith and his son Rex Jones during a segment they were doing today. And Alex kind of, flipped out at Owen live.
How much have I come in and censored you over the years?
Yeah, not enough, frankly. I say some things that I shouldn't be saying.
Have I ever censored you?
Never once. Literally never once.
Hey, if you want to quit and have a publicity stunt and lie about me, I forgive you, okay?
Well, that's
I know. I'm
very
just saying I expected. Hey, David Knight did it. Owen's done it. And I tell you, I was taking the high road until I actually started watching it. And it's like Anakin Skywalker's become Darth Vader.
Can we sing a song?
Hey, when I go on the air, I'm letting you have it, Schroyer. You stabbed your brother in this operation in the back, and you're a fucking liar.
Can we sing a song?
Fucking asshole.
Can we sing a song?
Shit.
So that's how Alex responded. And I want to just say, too, that Rex Jones, Alex's son, is going to come on my show next week. Before all this happened, before I even knew Owen Shroyer was going to leave and all this stuff, I invited Rex on my show because he's Alex's son. He seems really cool. I've seen him over the years before he took a break from doing media reporting, and he just seemed like a cool guy. And it's, being Alex Jones' son is also pretty sick too. But yeah, Rex is going to come on the show, and it's just kind of coincidental timing because I didn't even know about this. So, I'm going to say my piece and stuff, and when I talked to Rex, it was never going to be about this. I just wanted to ask him about his life, etc. But that's who that is there, where Owen used to sit, I guess. Not that he's filling in for Owen or he's taking a space. I guess he's just hosting the show today. But anyway, Alex said he's going to let Owen have it on his show. And this is a few clips that I chose from Alex going off on Owen Shroyer, calling him a liar and a rat.
He would try to control the show. He would whatever. Total lie. And then as all the articles come out and Jones censored Schroyer on Trump criticism and Israel. So let's see if Schroyer comes out and apologizes for you. Oh, no, he's going to say, I didn't really exactly say that. No, you couched each statement perfectly thought out.
So Alex is like, this is not what happened. You're lying. Alex has a longer, rant. I haven't even seen all of it, but from what I've seen, he said, Owen was moping around. Alex said that when The Onion was going to buy Infowars through this fake auction, remember the media said that The Onion bought Infowars and it was basically dead in the water. They did report that. I do remember that. And everyone's like, oh my gosh, Infowars is dead. The Onion bought him and now Alex Jones has to quit or whatever. Alex claimed that Owen was basically giving up on Infowars and didn't want to come into work. These are things that Alex said. I'm just reporting it. And here's the clip where he really let Owen hear his piece. And this is what he said.
And looking down at your notes, to be able to lie about us and try to hurt this organization for your benefit so you could be a hero. You are a snake. You are a rat. You are a fraud. You are a backstabber. You are a handbiter. You are a disgrace.
So obviously, Alex is not pumped about it. I'm going to give you my take. I'm going to try to summarize it. I mean, obviously, I'm going to speak for a minute, but, Alex and Owen had an interesting relationship where nobody really knew who Owen was. And then he was on Infowars and he became a big deal because Alex Jones is a superstar in the radio and media space. He's been popular for decades now, and he's had a huge resurgence due to a lot of what he said seemingly coming true to a lot of people. And he's gotten his flowers, I think, in the recent couple years, and more so than when he was younger. I think he was considered crazy and a lunatic, but now he's become a lot more mainstream. And I think he got let back on X. He got banned off social media. Long story short, Alex Jones is a legend, and Owen was basically only known through Alex Jones, right? He became Alex Jones's second-hand man. I remember when I first started seeing Owen, he sounded a lot like Alex Jones. He had a lot of the mannerisms, and, he was basically the star at Infowars that Alex seemed like, I'm not, grooming's the wrong word, but basically what's another word for grooming that doesn't sound so weird? Because I'm not saying that is the proper term for it. It just sounds weird in this context. But he was basically trying to, I think it looked like, have Owen take over as the Alex Jones when Alex leaves and his second-hand man now, basically like, this is going to be my protege. There's a better word. Anyway, over the years, Owen's gotten older. I think he's changed. He's kind of come into his own a little more. And I like Owen. I'm not disrespecting him. I'm just saying, like, he's been in media for a while now. And I feel like over the last couple of years, Owen seems to be more of his own man than just like an Alex Jones guy. Like, a lot of people, I think, have respected him. He's had some interesting opinions. And, Owen's a pretty popular guy. On one hand, yes, through Alex's network, and I think he owes Alex a lot, and that's probably why Alex is pissed. Like, I took you were my protege, and then you stabbed me in the back like that. But on Owen's side, Owen's kind of making the case for like, listen, I appreciate you. I'm so grateful for what you did for me, but I'm my own man, and at the end of the day, like, I got to look out for myself, and I don't like how you're treating me. From an outside perspective, I don't owe Alex Jones anything. I don't owe Owen Schroyer anything. I like them both, but they never really did anything for my career in the way that Alex did for Owen. So I get why he might be mad, and I get why Owen might be mad. But like I said, from my perspective, outside looking in, over the last few years, I've enjoyed Owen Schroyer more than Alex Jones. I'm not a fan of Alex Jones anymore. I don't hate him, and I'm trying to be respectful about it, but to me, it seems like Owen Schroyer has been way more authentic than Alex. So has Harrison Smith, by the way, who was in that show. So is Rex Jones. I mean, I like Alex's son a lot. I don't dislike Alex, and I know, I can't wait to talk to Rex just about his life and cool stuff like that. But as far as Alex, like, I really stopped listening to him because it seemed like he's been kind of phony over the last couple of years, where Harrison and Owen have been leaning into some narratives that Alex doesn't seem to really want to go towards, or at least like doesn't want to be honest about, in my perspective. And the weird part is you can find videos of Alex talking about similar stuff 15 years ago. So I know it's not like Alex doesn't know the things that his co-hosts are saying. It just seems a little off. And like Alex said, I mean, Harrison Smith has been talking about taboo topics for years now, and Alex doesn't seem to censor or bother him. So I'm not saying Alex is censoring his people. It seems like he's allowing them to speak. Maybe he treats Owen differently because Owen was kind of his protege, and I think he was like, a bigger figure than Harrison. At least like he was there earlier. He was always like, next in line to Alex Jones. I'm not really sure, but what I will say is it seems like if it's true that Alex was telling him you're anti-Trump and you're too pessimistic, it seems like a corny thing to say. I understand if it's your boss and your mentor and your leader, you have to handle it a different way. But I could see how Owen would get frustrated from that, because I get frustrated just watching Alex Jones. It bothers me every time I see a video of him. He's been corny, in my opinion, for a long time now. Not trying to be rude, not trying to be disrespectful. I'm just being authentic. Alex seems fake now. Like, he made his name going against the Republicans, going against the Democrats. He saw through George Bush. He saw through Obama. He saw through the war in Iraq. Alex has been ahead of so many narratives, the pharmaceutical industry. But with Trump, Alex Jones has essentially, in my opinion, turned into like a QAnon who talks bad about QAnon. And I'm not saying that like I'm a liberal media journalist smearing every Trump supporter. I'm just saying Alex will look at QAnon and be like, oh, that's stupid. Don't trust the plan. It's a psyop. But Alex has, in my opinion, almost become that same exact psyop. Like, anytime you listen to Alex Jones, he's making crazy, weird excuses for Trump that don't even make sense. Like, it's not, to me, I don't think that Owen is too pessimistic and too negative. I think Alex Jones is too pro-Trump, that he's pretty much abandoned what made him popular, which is seeing through the dual party deception. And even though Trump is very likable and he deserves credit, it's not hard to see how Donald Trump has become the establishment in many ways. One example is during COVID, Trump was pushing the vaccines, and Alex Jones said, Trump basically, one of the vaccines is basically sugar water. And, he's got like, Alex became QAnon instead of doing his journalistic duty to call Trump out for working with Pfizer, Moderna, Johnson & Johnson, and being a socialist vaccine scam artist. Alex is so pro-Trump, he abandons his own morals and will just make up literal fake lies for Donald Trump. Like, he's become a pathological liar who seems like a Trump PR guy who just plays both sides all the time. It's really corny, in my opinion. Another thing, I saw him talk about the Epstein situation, and he said like 85 or 95% of them are Democrats, blah, blah, blah. I'm not saying Democrats are innocent on the Epstein stuff, because obviously that's not true. But Alex Jones knows that Jeffrey Epstein's deeper than Democrat or Republican or Trump or anti-Trump. It's way deeper than that. It involves foreign nations, intelligence communities. I think a lot of people believe that now. I think recently, whatever his name is, Barack, not Obama, but Ehud Barak or something from Israel. I think he was the former prime minister. You could Google into that stuff. There's some emails leaked between, I think, him and Jeffrey Epstein. I haven't even looked into all that because I've been busy like enjoying my weekend. But anyway, besides the point, it's like it's deeper than Democrat or Trump or anti-Trump. And I know that Alex Jones knows that. But when I listen to a video of him reporting how Trump isn't releasing the Epstein stuff, he just sounds phony to me. So, of course, I don't owe Alex Jones really anything. Maybe I could say he woke me up when I was younger on certain topics, and I'm very grateful and, pay homage to a legend like Alex Jones. But I'm not Owen Schroyer. I didn't work there for years. He didn't put me on the map. Owen, I get why Alex might be mad at him and why he thinks that Owen owes him or shouldn't have said that. And maybe it's the case. But, I think Owen at a certain point probably feels like his legacy and his brand is on the line because he's been ride or die with Infowars. And of course, there's a lot of problems. There's lawsuits. There's bad media press. Like, it's hard to be an Infowars reporter. It's hard to work at Infowars. It's a difficult media organization to work at because Alex Jones is crazy and what they do is crazy. But I'm not even saying crazy bad necessarily. Sometimes it could be bad, but it's just a crazy job. You're not working at mainstream media. You don't have the protection. You signed up for a wild roller coaster, and it is what it is. I think at a certain point, maybe Owen thought, I'm sacrificing my life for this, even though in some ways Alex put him on the map, and maybe he never would have been as big without Alex. So it's a double-edged sword, and I'm sure Alex feels that way. But at what point it's like, if I'm doing all this stuff, if I'm taking all these arrows, and Alex Jones is sitting over my shoulder telling me I'm too anti-Trump when I know that the opposite is true. It's not that I'm too anti-Trump. It's that Alex isn't being honest. Like, Alex wasn't on George Bush's ding-a-ling. Alex wasn't on Obama's ding-a-ling. I've never seen Alex Jones on any politician's ding-a-ling his entire career. Never once has he been like that. But with Donald Trump, maybe he knows something. Maybe he likes people in the administration. Maybe he's grateful for Trump. But I understand voting and liking Trump. I get it. I understand giving Trump his props. Alex goes way over the top to just make up lies in order to defend Donald Trump. Like, every topic, whether it's vaccines or Epstein's, he'll play this game where he'll come on, he'll tell the truth. He'll say he thinks they're working with foreign nations. And then the next day he's making excuses. So for me as a consumer, I don't listen to Alex Jones anymore because it's too chaotic. It's like, I'm here. I remember during COVID, he was saying like, the virus is really bad. Then he says it's not that bad. Then he says like the vaccine's really bad. But then he says it's, Trump has secret vaccines to fight the deep state. Like, he's kind of just like a liar. And he's like chaotic. You know what I'm saying? Like, I like the simple, calm truth. I don't like the chaotic, let's say everything. Let's go here. Let's go here. Let's go here. Let's go here. It's like he's become basically similar to Trump, where Trump, I used to respect Trump more and I used to think he was a truth teller. Trump has become kind of like a circus clown in a way where he'll say Operation Warp Speed's a great achievement, but I'm not sure, but I am. Like, it's basically like, I'm this, I'm that, I'm this, I'm that. It feels like a WWE circus. That's how Alex feels to me. It feels like it's just this big show where he's constantly selling every 5 seconds on his show, which I get. Make your money, do your thing. I don't care. But it doesn't seem authentic like it used to me. Like, you listen to an old Alex Jones radio broadcast. There's one that I posted on Twitter because I found it. And he starts talking about the Bush and the Clinton administration. And he said, listen, I'm not trying to be called anti-Semitic or anything, but I've just noticed that there's a lot of dual loyalty Israelis in the government in both parties that like Israel more than America. He said this, Alex said this 30 years ago when no one was saying this. And he goes, listen, I don't care what country it is. I just think people in American government shouldn't have loyalty to any country. Like, Alex said that 30 years ago. Now it's his co-host saying that, and Alex is playing stupid like he doesn't see it. It's like, if you could point that out, and he was talking about Rahm Emanuel and all these people in the Democrat administrations, and he noticed in the Bush administrations too. If you noticed it when it was hard to notice 20, 30 years ago, are you telling me Alex Jones can't figure that out with Donald Trump's administration? Probably the most Zionist administration in modern history, like to the point where they're passing Zionist speech laws, to the point where Netanyahu comes out and says there's no daylight between what him and Trump believe. Like, I'm not even asking Alex to choose a side or whatever, but you really don't see that, Alex Jones? You saw it 30 years ago. So it's like he's telling Owen that Owen's too anti-Trump, but everybody with a brain and common sense that actually knows the information that these people know think the opposite is true. Owen's being authentic. Harrison Smith's being authentic. Alex is being a cornball. Alex is being a political slobnobber instead of a journalist who sees through both parties. Even if you like and vote for Donald Trump, it's not your responsibility, unless you're on his payroll. It's not your responsibility to say, oh, maybe his vaccine's secretly a good vaccine and it's sugar water to fight the deep state. Like, where's your proof for that, Alex Jones? You made that up. It's a lie. I'm sorry, but the Johnson & Johnson, the Moderna, and the Pfizer, none of those were sugar water. You know, David Knight called him out on this too. And he's like, oh, David Knight turned on me too. Maybe, I don't know your relationship with David Knight, but the thing is, David Knight's not wrong about what he's saying. Like, nobody wants to see their boss pathologically lying about these topics. If you work for Infowars, you're not signing up to CNN. You're not signing up to Fox News. You're signing up for the roller coaster. But if you're going to put your life, your body, your everything on the line, your mind, your body, your soul for Infowars, and then you realize your boss is a liar, or your boss is doing what Fox News does basically for Trump. Like, of course, Alex is a little different, but with Alex, it's become very similar to QAnon, in my opinion, where it's conspiracy misdirection. It's like 7 out of 10 he's right about, 3 he's wrong about, but everything's a show. So if you listen to Alex Jones, you're just running in circles in a whirlwind where every day it's like, now he's telling the truth. Now he's saying it's all Democrats. Now it's this. Now it's sugar water. It's like, why would I listen to Alex Jones? It's too chaotic. It's too stressful. And it's not even chaotic and stressful in a good way where I'm receiving this like information I couldn't hear anywhere else. It's just like a whirlwind of a combination of truths and lies with a bunch of, like not pills, but like supplements and stuff that he's selling. He's got good products. I'm not knocking him. I'm just saying, like, I just don't listen to, I haven't listened to Alex Jones in a while. Anytime I watch a video that he posts on X, I listen to it and I'm disappointed because I'm like, he's lying. When I listen to Ron Paul, I'm like, he's telling the truth. When I listen to Owen Schroyer, I think he's telling the truth. When I listen to Harrison Smith, I think he's telling the truth. When I listen to, Tucker Carlson most of the time, I'm like, oh, he's telling the truth. When I listen to Alex now, I don't get that. I get like, oh, he's just like some big circus clown just making a scene and a mockery of conspiracies and the truth. I don't hate Alex Jones. I think he's a legend, but once again, this is just an outside opinion. I'm not Owen Shroyer. I wasn't Alex Jones's protege. I didn't work for him for a while. I wasn't there for a decade. I didn't go down with their ship when things were going wrong. So, Owen and him have a different relationship. Alex has a right to be upset. Owen has a right to be upset. But outside of maybe how it could have been handled by Owen or could have been handled by Alex, this is just my outside opinion. I don't know if Owen could have handled it better, done some things. Maybe it's true. But you have to understand at a certain point, I understand both sides of it. I get why Alex would be mad. Sorry, I'm like babbling a little bit, but at a certain point, Owen has become his own person. Yes, he owes you, loyalty to some extent because you put him there. But at the end of the day, if Owen feels like Alex is crashing his authenticity and crashing his image, at the end of the day, Owen is himself and Owen doesn't want to be a liar, it seems like. So if Alex is lying and getting mad that Owen's not lying and says he's too anti-Trump when the truth is exactly the opposite, that would piss me off too. But the difference between me and Owen is I never worked there. I have a hard time. I have a hard time working for other people because I don't like BS. And a lot of people are doing BS. But with that being said, I built my own path. Although Owen does, owe Alex Jones a lot, I do understand where Owen's coming from. He doesn't have to stay there forever if they're not meshing. And I think it seems like it's probably a good time for them to part. And also, like I said, I think Owen's more honest than Alex now. So this is just my unsolicited advice to Alex, not that he needs it from me. When you lean into the truth, Alex Jones, you're a legend, you're a hero, you're amazing. When you play too many games and you become kind of like a PR team for Donald Trump and you're saying the vaccines are sugar water when they're not, and you're saying it's mostly Democrats involved with Epstein when we all know it's deeper than left and right, like, who are you fooling? You're not fooling me. You're not fooling a lot of your audience. You're not fooling Owen. You're not fooling Harrison. Like, nobody around you actually believes you. They just like you and they appreciate that you give them a platform. And, Alex Jones is a super likable guy. We all like you, Alex Jones, but we all know you're lying. So I don't work there. I don't owe you anything. I think everybody around you probably thinks that, but they just let it slide because it's like, Alex is a cool guy. He's mostly honest and he's a great boss. But at a certain point, Owen is a media figure. He doesn't have to sit there and like make excuses for you forever. It's becoming apparent, and everybody's starting to figure out that Alex has a massive blind spot, or he's just purposely sabotaging his entire integrity for Donald Trump. You could like Trump, you could vote for Trump, you could think he's better than Biden, you can give him thumbs up, but either you're a Trump slobnobber or you're a journalist. Either you're a truth teller or you're a Trump excuse maker. You can't just make up lies and confuse people in order to make Trump look better. It's corny. Everybody realizes it. And I get why Owen would leave. I wish Alex luck. I wish Owen luck. I wish Harrison Smith luck. And I'm excited to talk to Rex Jones on my show. And to be honest, I won't even bring this up unless Rex wants to talk about it, because I invited Rex on the show weeks ago when he came back to X. I just like Rex Jones. He's cool. I wanted to ask him about his life, his story, like let him tell his story of Alex Jones' son getting back into the media. So I'll leave it up to Rex. This was not planned. I didn't know anything about Owen leaving, and it just so happens that Alex Jones' son was going to be on my show next week. These are my unfiltered opinions. I will be beyond respectful and cool to Rex, and it's really in his court if he wants to weigh in on this stuff or not, because that was never my intention. I booked the interview before this even happened. So I just want to talk to Rex about his life. Second story that I'm going to talk about is the Coldplay story. So Coldplay, apparently they can't do a concert without getting into controversy. I mean, probably good for PR and press, but this one really ticked off Zionists. And at first I didn't understand why, because I didn't think that Chris Martin said anything crazy. He had some Israelis on the stage. He goes, "Where are you guys from?" He probably didn't know. They said, "We're from Israel." And then the crowd started booing. And then Chris Martin's in a weird situation. They're booing these girls, or I think they're both girls. I got to look again, but it's like these Israelis that are on stage. And Chris Martin wants to be like, "Hey, listen, we're all human, right?" I thought what he said was pretty classy and pretty middle of the road, but I guess he leaned into the Palestine thing too. And the response from Zionists is crazy. I'll tell you about it after I play the clip, but I thought they'd look at this and be like, yeah, that was pretty nice that he said that. But they're freaking out. They're like, how dare Chris Martin not talk about, October 7th? How dare him do that? That's so mean that he did that to those Israelis. And I'm like, are we watching the same clip? I mean, I didn't think what he said was crazy at all, but let's take a look.
Where did you come from today? From Israel. Okay, wow. Okay, well, listen. I'm going to say this. I'm very grateful that you're here as humans, and I'm treating you as equal humans on earth, regardless of where you come from or don't come from. Thank you for being here. We're grateful, and thank you for being loving and kind. And although it's controversial, maybe, I also want to welcome people in the audience from Palestine, because we have a belief that we're all equally human. And thank you for being here.
I don't know. Sorry if the video is glitching out. I don't know what the hell is wrong with that, but I'm going to try it again.
Where did you come from today?
Maybe it's just a weird video, but the audio was right. The video looked like it was all glitching out on my side. So he said, "Where'd you guys come from?" They said, "Israel." Everybody booed. And he said, "Hey, we're all human here, including the Palestinians." And people started cheering. So it was like in my opinion, it's the perfect middle ground. It's like, you don't want to lose your audience. You want to make them cheer. But at the same time, you want to let these Israelis know, like, I'm sorry you're getting booed. We're all human. We all deserve to be loved. So I log into Twitter, right? And this is, I had somebody on my Instagram live. He was from Israel. He says, "Hey, buddy, I'm from Israel. I have a question. Why are so many right conservatives like turning against Israel?" And I was like, thank you for being chill and asking a question, because I can answer that. And I'll talk about it after. But with this sort of thing, people that are pro-Israel, the Zionists, and that's not just Jewish people, because there's Jews against Israel, even though most are for. There's Christians that are crazy Zionists, crazier than most Jewish people I know about it. So when I say Zionists, it could mean Jewish, it could mean Christian. I guess it could mean something else, but it's mostly Christians and Jews, just to be honest. I mean, there's other Zionists, I guess, too, but for the most part, it's that. But then, when it comes to the Zionists that I see in my feed, including people that I'm friends with, people that I like, they just seem like they're in a different reality than everybody else. And they remind me of how Democrats acted like during Trump. Like if you didn't 100% agree with a Democrat, they just went crazy on you and acted like insane. I remember going on a date in Los Angeles with this pretty girl, obviously a 10 out of 10. No, I'm just joking. It's like, she probably wasn't a 10, but I was just like trying to be funny. But I mean, she wasn't ugly either, but had to make a little humor in there. But I went on a day in Los Angeles with this girl. And I thought it went well, right? We were getting along and stuff. And I remember during the day she asked me, she said, "What do you think of Donald Trump?" And it was like 2018, right? And I didn't want to say I liked him, even though I did at the time. But I was like, I think the media lies about him a lot. And I don't think he's as bad as they say. I think they're exaggerating. That's all I said. She texts me when I get home. She goes, "Oh, it went great. You're cool, but I don't think we'll get along because you like Trump too much or something." I was like, "I didn't even say I like Trump." And she goes, "Yeah, but I hate him. Like, if you don't hate Trump as much as I hate Trump, we shouldn't even talk." I was like, "All right. I mean, probably saving me on that one since you're crazy, but that's what the Zionists do. Like, if you don't say, I agree with everything Israel ever does, and Jews are the greatest people in the world, and everybody else is bad, and Palestine doesn't deserve a home. And if you don't like bow down to every one of their narratives, they go nuts on you like a Democrat if you like Trump." That video of Chris Martin, where he basically just says we're all human, and even the Palestinians, Zionists are freaking out about it. They said, "Why are you not talking about October 7th, Chris Martin?" Like, he has to do a PowerPoint presentation like he's the IDF now about October 7th because someone booed an Israeli on stage. Is that his responsibility in the middle of a Coldplay concert to go into October 7th? To Zionists, it is. If he doesn't do that, then they freak out. And they're all like freaking out at Chris Martin just because he said, Palestinians deserve a chance too. Like, they're human as well. And I'm not trying to be a dick and I'm not trying to be rude, but here's the hypocrisy of the Zionists. It's like, they always say Israel deserves a homeland. Israel deserves a country. You're anti-Semitic if you don't think Israel deserves a land, right? Fair, right? Israelis and Jewish people, they didn't have a homeland for thousands of years. They've been scattered all over the place. Everybody mysteriously seems to mistreat them. People have kicked them out of like 109 countries or something, and people didn't even have cell phones or technology or telephones, but yet everybody just, for some reason, just didn't want them there and, got messed. So I understand it's a complicated history, but now you get a homeland, right? That makes sense. That seems fair to me. If everybody around the world seems to always, every 100 years or so, like not like what they're doing, then now there's somewhere for everyone to go if they want to, where they feel like they're at home because it's all of their ethnic group, right? An ethno-state of the Jews, Israel. Seems fair to me. I'm not against it. I'm not one of these liberals. It's like, you can't have an ethno-state. I don't care if that's what you guys want, if that's what you guys feel like you need. I understand. I'm compassionate. I'm sympathetic. With that being said, do the Zionists give that same right to Palestinians? Do they say, well, Palestinians should have a homeland too? Some do, but most don't. Most are literally like, let's just ethnically cleanse them completely and, send them to other countries that they don't want to be in. It's the hypocrisy. I don't care what you guys do. I mean, obviously that's kind of sick, but it's like the same thing you say you want, you're denying to Palestinians. So the reason that Zionists are pissed off at what he said is because he acknowledged that Zionists were human. That makes them mad. He acknowledged that Zionists deserve life, essentially. That pisses them off because they don't believe that. It's like everything you say you want, you then don't give to someone else. It's all like guilty conscience projection. Like, everything that they do, they accuse of everybody else all the time. And it's like, okay, I just have to agree with you now or something because there's speech laws all over the Western world. Like, do I have to play dumb and pretend like I believe you? It's like, you constantly lie, you constantly exaggerate, you constantly smear all the best people in my country. Yet I'm supposed to believe that you've never lied before in your life, even though you're lying a lot now. But you can't say you did it about history, right? That's some sort of crime in multiple countries. All right. I mean, I guess that's fair, but not really. I could say George Washington was a black tranny. Nobody gets mad at me, but I just can't question your history. Okay, sure, fine. Yep, everything you have ever said is true. You're great. Ben Shapiro's never lied. He looks like a grown man and not a little baby wearing an Oshkosh Bagosh jean jacket or whatever. Sure. His sheets are the best or whatever, the Boll and Branch sheets. With that being said, it's like, to the guy that came in my Instagram live and he said, why are so many conservatives turning against Israel? And not just conservatives, it's like most of the world, right? Let me give a few reasons, right? Just to be fair and honest. And I'm not saying it's all justified or you can't disagree, especially if you live in Israel. You should love your country. You should, believe in yourself. You shouldn't be a self-hating Israeli or anything, but there's a lot of valid criticism or disgust that people have of Zionists. The first one is obvious. they're killing tens of thousands of women and children and hundreds of journalists. I know everybody wants to act like that's normal, but it's not. And nobody thinks it's normal, and it's not usual even in this modern era. It's crazy. But they want to do it. Okay, they want to do that even though everybody thinks it's crazy. So do I not have to fund it, right? I have the IRS breathe down my neck every year to steal my money so they could send it to other countries and military industrial complex, etc. Is there a way for me to vote my way out of funding Israel? There's not. Biden funds Israel. Trump funds Israel. Kamala would have funded Israel. There's no way to vote your way out of it. Congress is completely compromised, but if you say they're compromised, it's anti-Semitism. AIPAC brags about winning like 98% of elections, yet, you're not supposed to talk about it. So it's like we have this lobby that if you say it exists, they say you're anti-Semitic. They brag about having a 98% win success rating. And if you watch Steven Crowder, I think his name is Brandon Herrera or something, but it was the AK gun guy, I think his name is. I don't know his exact name, but he was running and he was about to win an office, and he alleged that AIPAC spent like $1 million against him, and then someone else won. That's way worse for America. So you have this lobby that will fund hundreds of Democrats against Republicans over the sole topic of Israel, and fund Republicans over the sole topic of Israel. That's annoying. Nobody likes it. Our country is falling apart, and all of our government people, all they do is talk about Israel. That's not Israel's fault, and that's not Israelis' fault. I want to be clear about this. I'm not mad at Israel or Israelis over that. That's Trump's fault. That's our politicians' fault. That's the system that allows donors to basically control our politics. I'm more annoyed at American politicians than Israeli politicians. Netanyahu doesn't owe me anything. He doesn't need to give me anything. I'm not Jewish. I don't live in Israel. Netanyahu is the leader of his people, so he does what he thinks is best for them. I'm annoyed at Donald Trump, who says Israel should literally control Congress. He thinks Israel should control Congress while he's taking hundreds of millions of dollars from pro-Israel donors. It's really crazy. He pardons Israeli spies and lets, them go home, and then they fly home on his donor's jet. Like, it's all really weird. So politically, domestically, people are annoyed at AIPAC and the Israel lobby. People that are pro-Israel will say, oh, but they're not as big as this lobby and that lobby. They don't seem as big because they don't have to register. And when you add, you're not supposed to say it because they're passing speech laws in America to say that it's anti-Semitic, to say that the media is also controlled by Israeli interests. But also that is true too. Most media companies are controlled by Israeli interests. Let's go through Fox News, pro-Israel. CNN, I know it might not seem that way, but CNN is extraordinarily pro-Israel. You go to MSNBC, I think they had a host that would talk about what Israel is doing, and they fired him or got rid of him. Mehdi or whatever his name was. So all the mainstream networks, they have left and right opinions, but at the end of the day, they're all basically deep state, military industrial complex press, including Fox News. All right, let's go to the new age, podcasts that control conservative politics. Daily Wire. Candace Owens essentially got let go because she was criticizing Israel too much, and Ben Shapiro got mad in his little jean jacket. Prager brags about sending people to Israel more than anybody else, and the CEO is not Dennis Prager. It's a former Israeli IDF intelligence person named Marissa Straight. These are the two biggest outside of Fox News. I would say PragerU and Daily Wire are huge. The only one that could really even rival how big they are, I would say, would be potentially Turning Point USA, which is like a nonprofit and now a for-profit thing. I think it's Turning Point Action or something. I don't really know, but Charlie Kirk runs a nonprofit and he has a for-profit thing. They're extraordinarily pro-Israel. I'm sure if you looked at how much donations they got and who they got them from, that could explain part of the picture, similar to Donald Trump. But in general, it's like, it is a huge thing in the media, and it's changing, I guess. Like Tucker Carlson's going to speak at Turning Point. I'm sure people are pissed off about that, but at the end of the day, the whole reason that I'm saying this is like to the Brandon Tatums of the world who try to be like, oh, they're not even that big of a lobby, because they don't have to register with FARA. And you're not supposed to say this because they're passing these speech laws, but it extends far beyond even political donations. It goes through media, and a lot of these media organizations that are run by the left and the right, they all kind of meet in the center on a certain topic, at least a large portion of them. So there's a lot of reasons that people are annoyed with Israel. I'm not saying you have to agree, but they're killing tens of thousands of women and children and civilians. Everybody knows it. Yet when you bring it up to a Zionist, they'll say two things to you. They'll either say, You know, they're all guilty, which is justifying the slaughter of civilians and journalists. They work for Hamas, so then they say that it's fine that they die. Or they'll say something else and they'll say, we're not doing it. That's anti-Semitism to say we're purposely doing it. But then like 5 minutes later, you watch an interview, they'll admit that they're totally fine with doing it. So to me, I'm a very like straightforward person. If you just thought one side and they were all guilty, I would respect you more than if you played both sides. So it's like, they'll be like, oh, you know, they're all in on it because they all voted for Hamas. First of all, I'm not dumb enough to believe that talking point. It's like a boomer Zionist talking point to brainwash Republicans. I have the internet. I can look these things up. The last election was before 2010. I think it was either during Obama's term or before Obama's term. So it was in the 2000s. That's their last election. Joe Biden won in America and we couldn't stop it. That doesn't mean American civilians should be targeted because we voted for the wrong guy. That's like Osama bin Laden logic to be like, yeah, well, they voted for him, so they're responsible. What option would you have if you're like a random person in Palestine? You think they have an option to take over a force that Israel can't? If Israel can't even beat them, Israel's been, you know, blowing stuff up for 2 years now. If Israel, with the advanced technology they have, can't even fully defeat Hamas and get all the you know, all of the refugees or whatever they're called, hostages back. How in the world is a random civilian going to beat Hamas if you can't even do it this quickly? I know Israel's going to win, but I'm just saying, like, it doesn't even make sense. But at least if you said that, even though it doesn't make any sense, I could respect it because I'm like, okay, that's what they mean. But it's like people will say that, justify the slaughter of these people. Then they'll turn around and say, we're not doing it. You can't say we're doing it. You just said you were okay with doing it, though. Like, it doesn't, the talking points don't make any sense. So it's like the amount of civilians and journalists being killed, nobody likes that. Liberals don't like it. Conservatives don't like it. The fact that on the left, I mean, they have a lot of reasons for not liking it, but I don't really care what the left thinks. So let's go to the right. Why are so many younger Republicans turning against Israel? Because the Republican Party is basically the Israeli party. It's like everything's about Israel. Everywhere you go, it's Israel, Israel, Israel. We're taking a break. We don't have time to push Trump's recess appointments because we're going on resets like we're in kindergarten. But then we're going to fly to Israel and kiss the wall and do things for Israel. Ron DeSantis flies to Israel with Randy Fine, passes the first bill in Florida history on foreign soil, and the bill is essentially for Israel. So DeSantis is, even though he's one of the best governors we have, he's essentially a traitor because he's flying to a foreign nation to pass a law for that nation against American citizens in Florida with Randy Fine sitting next to him. Does Israel pass anti-American laws to say that their citizens are not allowed to question America? Of course not, because that would be traitorous activity. Why would Israel pass a law against their own citizens to benefit an entire other nation? It doesn't make any sense. Yet that's what Republicans do over and over and over again. So I'm not saying that's the fault of Israelis or people in Israel, but if you want to know why so many people on the right are turning against Israel, AIPAC, the speech laws, Donald Trump's big donors, Trump says they should control our Congress, and anybody that talks about it is smeared as an anti-Semite, and there's no way to avoid this unless you literally just get on your knees and bow down and become like Brandon Tatum. Like Brandon Tatum, God bless the guy, but he tweeted, I stand with Israel today. Okay. I mean, I know everybody knows he's pro-Israel. That's fine. Everybody knows he defends Israel. That's nice. That's cool. But it's just like, I stand with Black Lives Matter. Are you standing or are you sitting down? I stand with Trump. I stand with like, who says that besides a politician? It's like you go to Republican politicians' social media and they're like, I stand with the state of Israel. It's like a Wednesday at like 10:30. It's like, okay. Do you stand with the homeless in America? Do you stand with the fact that our health insurance is a scam? Do you stand with the fact that car insurance is a scam? Do you stand with the fact that, you know, you printed too much money during COVID? Do you stand with the vaccine injured? Do you stand with the people who were forced mandated vaccines and lost everything? Do you tweet every week that you stand with the soldiers who lost their jobs? You can't find anybody standing for anything but Israel more than like, there's a lot of things I stand for, but I don't tweet about it like on Black Lives Matter. It's like, where's Trump and all of these politicians tweet saying, I stand with the vaccine injured. I stand with the people who lost their jobs during COVID. They don't tweet about that. They tweet about Israel every week, all the time. Recess, flight it. We live in the United States of Israel. Republicans are Zionist first. They will prioritize Israel over America. Should we abide by the First Amendment or should we pass speech laws for Israel? What should we do? We're the Republican Party. We take hundreds of millions of dollars from pro-Israel donors and call people anti-Semitic who notice it. Oh, yeah, we'll pass speech laws against our own citizens. What does Sarah Huckabee Sanders do? She flies to Israel and brags about doing trade deals with Israel for Arkansas. Cool. But why did you also pass an International Remembrance Alliance definition into Arkansas against Arkansas citizens? You're basically pushing a definition of hate speech into Arkansas against the citizens of Arkansas who are Americans for Israel and one race and one religion. Republicans are essentially like all foreign agents at this point. They don't even work for our interests, and they don't prioritize us first, and they're completely unapologetic for it. So that's not anyone's fault besides American citizens. I'm not blaming other countries. I'm just letting you know, for those who are curious, like why is Israel's PR doing worse and worse and worse? The talking points are horrendous. They make absolutely no sense. People will say, yes, it's fine that we do this to these people, but don't say we're doing it because that's hate speech and blood libel, even though we just told you we're completely fine with it, but also we're not fine with it, but we are, but it's blood libel if you say it, but we want to do it, but don't say we're doing it. It's like, how stupid do these people think we are? I mean, a lot of people are stupid, so maybe they're right. And then it's like, we can't vote our way out of it. We have to constantly fund it. We have a foreign lobby controlling or at least leveraging 98% wins in our Congress. Donald Trump thinks a foreign nation should literally own our Congress, and it just so happens to be some of his biggest donors that, fund that type of ideology, in the sense of he admits that they come in the White House asking for things for Israel. So American citizens give him hundreds of millions of dollars, but they're asking for things for Israel. But when I say that, all the Zionists call me anti-Semitic, even though Trump just said it. If Trump says it, they clap because he's taking the money and he's the puppet. When I say it, it's hate speech, it's blood libel, it's anti-Semitism, it's oh my gosh, oh my goodness. So it's like, yeah, the younger generation is not as brainwashed as the older generation. The older generation, they got brainwashed about everything. It's like, we landed on the moon, we fought in World War II, we're heroes, so we're going to go take our retirement and screw you, younger generation. Meanwhile, they sit and believe Mark Levin and Sean Hannity and these people that no one young believes, but yet they're like, we're getting the truth from Fox News. That's as dumb as believing CNN. So the boomers are brainwashed. They read the Schofield Bible with the footnotes, and all these Southern political pastors brainwash them with the mega church. And, anybody under 30 that isn't so stubborn, naive, and foolish can access all this information and be like, yeah, this is a little too much. That doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense politically. It doesn't make sense nationally. If you're a Christian, it doesn't make sense biblically. Like any Zionist boomer that's like, we have to do this. Let's just break it down slowly, right? Because the Bible says a lot of stuff and it's often taken out of context. Do those people that you think are on the level of Jesus Christ, they literally put Israel and Jewish people in Israel on the level of Jesus Christ. Like they literally think they're like as important as Jesus, right? Okay, let's just say they are. Or let's just look at the Bible. Do they believe in your Lord and Savior? Do they worship your Lord and Savior? No. Do they even like your Lord and Savior? Some of them do, but most of them don't. Do they have a book that says that your Lord and Savior is boiling in hot excrement, which is poop for eternity? They do. They hate him. Not everybody, but a lot of them hate him. Some of them will tell Israeli press like Jerusalem Post that they believe that Christians are Amalek. What is Amalek? It's a biblical story. Go read it. They declared Palestinians were Amalek, and look what they did to Palestinians. There's a lot of rabbis that think Christians are Amalek. So what do you think they want to do to you? I'm not saying everybody believes that, because there's nuance, just like there is in Christian churches and Islam. There's Shia, Sunnis. I'm not saying it's agreed upon, but that's there. So why would you think that your religion justifies you bending over backwards for people that hate your Lord and Savior? You've created a new satanic religion where you worship the people who hate him. And you can't say that you worship the people who killed him, because Zionist politicians are passing speech laws, and one of the speech laws says that you can't say that they killed Jesus. And I'm not saying people alive now killed Jesus, because it's not true. But you could say white people did slavery. You could say black people did this. You could say anything about any race. I mean, people aren't going to like it, but it's like you can stereotype or group in all white people bad. All white people did slavery. America's bad. They did this to the Native Americans. But you need a speech law in your country that says that you can't say a certain group of people killed Jesus? Why would a Christian support an antichrist speech law that is attempting to police their biblical discussion as hate speech for a group of people that doesn't believe in him and doesn't even like him on average? How could you possibly think that's a Christian thing to believe? The Schofield Bible, these Zionist boomer pastors that brainwash an entire generation, only people over 60 believe that. I'm sorry, but nobody under 35 believes that. Like almost nobody. Maybe somebody that still believes what their parents told them and stuff, but I'm just giving an explanation. Not everything is justified. I'm just saying this is why younger Republicans are not pro-Israel. I follow people that 2 years ago, they're posting Charlie Kirk clips all the time. Now they're posting Nick Fuentes clips. People that used to love Ben Shapiro, now they're posting clips of like, people questioning Israel, of other people, like edgier stuff. And like they weren't doing that 3 months ago. Because when you're not stubborn and foolish, like a lot of people that are older, I'm not saying no younger people are stubborn too, because it happens, but it's like there's a lot of people, not all boomers, we love boomers here, we're big boomers fans, but a lot of boomers have this energy of like, you can't teach me anything, youngin'. There's nothing you could teach me that I don't already know. Sure, you have more life experience. Sure, you probably know a lot of stuff that I don't know, and I'm grateful for that. But there's a lot of stuff you got tricked on, and you're not aware of it. And the younger generation understands that. So this is, just to wrap it up, and then I'll maybe read a few comments. In order to essentially restore trust and love and unity between the two countries, or at least like a better PR team in America for people to believe it, you have to be more honest, but also you can't do what I said they did to Coldplay earlier. If you act like Democrats, where it's like, if you don't agree with 100% of what I believe, then I'm going to call you anti-Semitic. You're just going to create a bunch of anti-Semites who you've labeled them and thrown them in a corner. I remember back when I liked Trump and people called me right-wing, I hated the term right-wing. I was like, I'm not right-wing. I'm not right. Because I thought right-wing was bad. And I was like, I don't want to seem crazy or racist or whatever. Now, I don't care what people call me. I am right-wing. I don't know. I guess like if you look at economically, I agree with the right more than the left. If you look at socially, I think the right makes more sense than the left. So yeah, like, I'm like more like Ron Paul in some ways, but if you want to call it right-wing, I don't care, but I used to care. You threw baby in a corner. You threw everybody in a corner and said, how come you guys are in that corner? You threw us there. It's the same thing with the Zionists. I don't see them. They don't like anybody that's not just like a propagandist for them. Coldplay didn't even say anything that crazy. And they're like, if you could read some of the tweets about Coldplay, how dare him not bring up October 7th? Is that your prerequisite now? If Israeli gets booed and he says we're all human, they have to bring up October 7th, or else you're going to slander them and you hate them forever. You're just going to create a lot more people that don't like you. And then when people don't like you, you scream anti-Semitism. At what point do you have self-awareness and self-accountability as a group? I would never say an entire group is doing something because it's not true. But when it comes to so many people in the Zionist crowd being like, why are we losing so much steam? Have a little bit of self-awareness. It's the same thing as ethnic groups and race. I would never say all black people or all white people think and do the same because it's not true. But for the black community in America, why do so many people feel so weird about so much stuff? Is everybody just waking up racist? You could think that, you could say it, but what about the crime statistics in America? Do you not see those? Because we all do, and everybody knows, and anybody who watches local news knows who's committing most of the violent crimes, or at least a large portion of them. And people don't like violent crimes, and people don't want to live in neighborhoods that have barbed wire fences and chains all over the windows, so people can't, like, people don't want to live that way. So instead of like gatekeeping that, why don't we work together to make it not that way, instead of acting like everybody's racist who doesn't want to live that way? It's the same thing with white people. I think white people are too pathetic nowadays. I'm mostly white. I'm part Puerto Rican. I could play that card if I need to. Oh, I'm Puerto Rican. Don't be racist to my people, whatever. But I'm mostly European, but I have nice golden skin. I'm not white. I'm not black. I'm golden. I'm a golden child. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. You can call me what you want. I don't care. With that being said, when it comes to white people, what's going on in England? Like, why are they so pathetic? Why is Germany so pathetic now? Why is France so pathetic? Not everybody's pathetic, but England is kind of pathetic now. Why? I don't get it. Like, that's my criticism for white people. It's like, what are you guys doing? What's Why are you electing like librarians to run your country? Why is every cat lady running every country in Europe and Australia? I looked at one of the ladies in Australia and she's like, this is what Australia looks like. And it was like everybody who wasn't white. And I'm like, is that my librarian from elementary school? Like, why do they all look like angry librarians who'd be like, no talking? How does a group of human beings come together and be like, yeah, that's my leader. That right there, I want in charge of all of us. What are white people doing? It's not hate to tell white people they're being too weak and pathetic in their countries and they're losing everything because they're pushovers. That's the truth. It's not racist to talk about crime statistics and say that that's why most other races don't want to live in those neighborhoods. That's a fact. Everybody knows it. And, you know, with Israel, Zionists, and the Jewish community, not all, because everybody has a different opinion, but in like, at what point do you have any self-awareness and self-accountability to what you're doing and be like, you know what, maybe we could dial it back a little bit, or maybe we will have self-awareness and add that into the equation. I'm not anti-Israel. People can call me that. They could say that. They could write articles about it. I'm not anti-Israel. I'm not anti any other country. I believe what George Washington believes. I believe this before I even knew he said it. And once I read it, I was like, holy crud. I'm going to say crud because I haven't cursed yet. Holy crumb. Holy crumble. Holy crumble cookie. I think like George Washington without knowing it. He said, you can't hate or love any other nation too much. You have to love America. And I've always thought that instinctually. And when I saw George Washington said it, I was like, see, I'm not crazy. Everyone else is crazy. I don't hate Israel. I don't prioritize them over every other country. I don't hate Sudan. I don't hate Afghanistan. I don't hate Russia. I don't hate Ukraine. I wasn't raised to be hateful, and I'm a very thoughtful person. I don't hate anybody. I think every culture has something interesting, every religion. I don't hate. So why am I the bad guy? It's other people who hate other countries and then project onto me because I don't hate enough. They're not mad that I'm hateful. They're mad that I'm not hateful, so they call me hateful, hoping that I hate the same people they hate and obsess over the same people they obsess. I don't do that. And that's what George Washington said for good reason. You can't hate other countries and you can't obsess over other countries because then you're either loyal or have a biased agenda that's going to go against Americans' interests. You got to think logically about this stuff. So if you think logically about this stuff, naturally Zionists just don't like you. There's people who hate Israel. There's people who don't want Israel to exist. They do exist. I'm not one of them. I think Israel has a right to exist. I think they have a right to defend themselves. I think they have a right to want their land. It doesn't mean I agree with how they're doing it. It doesn't mean that I like what they're doing at all, because I don't. But I don't think, and some people will get mad at this, like, how could you think they have a right to exist? I don't think I'm important enough to tell someone that they can or can't have a country. I'm not King Henry. I'm not Genghis Khan. I'm not a president. I don't work for the World Health Organization. I'm just a guy podcasting. Who am I? Like, if Ukraine and Russia, Ukraine deserves this and Russia deserves this. I don't know. Ukraine, if they lost territory, they lost territory. No offense. I don't really care. It's a long history between those two countries. I'm not the moral high ground. Give that back to Ukraine. Figure it out and stop killing each other. I don't really care what happens. Same with Israel and Palestine. I think they both should be able to exist. If they can't, that's a problem for them. But I'm not going to sit here and say you shouldn't exist or you shouldn't exist. Who am I to tell anybody? I'm focused on my country. When my borders open, when my country looks like a forward bazaar, when I drive through neighborhoods and it looks like I'm in a country that doesn't speak English, when there's crimes running rampant, when there's no social cohesion, when our health insurance is trash, when our politicians are serving other interests, when my vote is either fund these two wars and vote for open borders or fund these two wars and vote for Israeli speech laws, it's not a real election. You know, everybody wanted to talk about rigged election because they were following Donald Trump, the Judas Goat, Pied Piper, false opposition vaccine salesman, and saying, oh, the election was stolen, the election was rigged. Here's how Trump will never tell you the election is rigged. Both sides have massive flaws to the point where you can't vote your way out of certain stuff. The reason Donald Trump was saying all that stuff, not only was it to sabotage probably his own people and get them in trouble so they couldn't stand up against the mandates and the lockdowns, but it's also like a narrative going nowhere where it's like, yes, the elections need to be more fair. However, they're not fair for a different reason, because we voted for Donald Trump and we got a lockdown. You voted for Donald Trump, you got Operation Warp Speed. Biden gets in, He mandates the product, he funds Israel. Trump gets in, he funds Israel. You can't vote your way out of those things. You can't. That's how the election's stolen. The fact that Trump is a puppet of the same donors that Marco Rubio used to be a puppet of. Donald Trump is not this authentic hero that Alex Jones says he is, fighting for our freedom. He's better than Biden. I voted for him. He's doing some cool stuff, but he's also kind of a puppet now. You think if Marco Rubio or George Bush wasn't president, they wouldn't do a few cool things? They would too. George Bush, one of them picked Clarence Thomas. The other one picked Alito. Those are better judges than anybody Trump's ever picked. So am I supposed to, oh, wow, Trump got a Republican judge in. Sure, that's why I voted for him. But Trump's not even good at that. He's actually not even that cool. Like, Alito is better than anyone Trump picked. Amy Coney Barrett, whatever, Coney Island hot dog, she's a clown. Hopefully she never, hopefully I don't go to the Supreme Court ever, because then she'll probably rule against me. But same with Brett Kavanaugh. These are terrible picks. George Bush and George Bush Jr. picked two people better than Trump picked two people. I'm not saying they didn't do anything bad, but everybody gives Trump so much credit. Oh, he did all these conservative things. Yes, so would Mike Pence. Mike Pence is a joke, but he would have done half these things too. Trump has some instinct and he does some things a little better, but everyone on the right's like, oh, we got to softball Trump because he does all these Republican things. Every Republican, every neocon deep state Republican always did Republican things also, but then they also did that. So Trump is like Marco Rubio now. He talks about Mark Levin more than anybody else. Mark Levin's like his favorite journalist. He tweeted yesterday, I'm not even going to put it up. He true socialed bragging that Woody Allen wants to do a movie with him. Nobody in Trump's orbit likes Woody Allen. He's a little sus, as the kids are saying. Yeah, Trump's like, me and Woody Allen, me and Jeffrey Epstein. Yeah, we know. Jeffrey Epstein's a Democrat hoax, right, Trump? Jeffrey Epstein's a Democrat hoax, but I'm going to sit in the White House last week, with Bill Gates. Bill Gates used to hang out with Epstein. So did Donald Trump. But there's no Epstein. It's just a Democrat hoax. But I'm going to meet with Bill Gates in the White House this week. Dummies. That's what Trump thinks of us. But don't worry, folks. Fake opposition Democrats are rivaling Donald Trump with a meme coin, because it's not American politics unless American politicians are pushing meme coins to probably just make a fortune at the expense of Americans who are already suffering. Like Donald Trump and Gavin Newsom need any more money. They need to have a meme coin battle. So everybody who holds it loses.
The real prediction is, we're about to put a meme coin out. And you know what, Donald Trump, we'll see how well your coin does versus our coin.
If it looked weird, I don't know what the hell's going on with my playback. That's the issue. But anyway, they got a meme coin coming out. Isn't that just cute? I'm going to read a few comments in a second. First one, I said everything I need to say. Alex Jones, Owen Schroyer, having a tough breakup there. I understand both sides, but my personal opinion is, although maybe it could have been handled different, I just don't listen to Alex Jones anymore. Alex Jones to me is like QAnon for people who don't believe in QAnon. People who are like, oh, QAnon's dumb. I listen to Alex Jones. He's essentially Q. He's essentially just having this cookie crumb trail. Maybe Trump did this. Maybe he did that. Maybe he did this. Or maybe you're just forgetting 30 years of your own research to treat Trump like he's some special cookie, when in reality, he's just doing the same stuff. And you just, for some reason, don't want to talk about it. I don't know. I like Owen better than Alex at this point, is what it is. Second story, Coldplay said something very basic, very not offensive at all, but Zionists are pissed off because they're like Democrats. If you don't agree with 100% of everything they say and spew out their nonsensical talking points that don't make sense to anybody with an IQ over 70, then they hate you. So it's I don't know, it's this weird cycle thing that they're doing where it's if you don't say what they say, they hate you. So then most people, naturally disagree. Then when everyone's disagreeing, they point to everybody oh my gosh, we're becoming so unpopular. We're so hated or whatever. And it's there's never self-awareness and self-accountability in that discussion. And when it comes to American politics, the lobby, how our country is basically being controlled, it is what it is. I mean, you don't have to disagree with it, but that is happening in the United States of America. And, if I lived in Israel, I mean, maybe this wouldn't be the most popular thing, but I'm just trying to put myself in someone else's shoes. Let's just say I was Israeli. I lived in Israel and I liked Israel more than America. I know I get that this wouldn't be popular, but let's just say I'd be yeah, no, our country is doing well. We do get foreign aid. We do have lobbies, and, all your politicians are shucking and jiving for us. And that's good for us because, That's what we want. If your country works for us, then that's just better. It's the same way they came on and they said after the pager thing, some Mossad agent went on television. I think it was 60 Minutes with like a fake mask on or a mask so you didn't know who it was. And they said, the whole world is a stage. We're writing the script, right? If I say that, it's the most anti-Semitic thing people have ever heard. When Mossad says it, it's just the truth. Like they do run a lot. Like with Lebanon, they're selling Lebanese Hezbollah members pagers that they're like, oh, these aren't connected to Israel. And then Hezbollah gets it, and then they get blown up because it was an Israeli company fronting it as a not Israeli company. Like, there's a lot of that going on in America. I know you're not supposed to say it, but that's the truth. The same way they tricked Hezbollah, and they're like, psych, we actually work for Israel. It's a lot of the American economy. I know you're not supposed to say that. I'm not even trying to be rude. I'm just saying if I were Israeli, I would just be honest about it. I'd be like, yeah, that's happening, and we run America pretty much, so whatever. What are you going to do about it? Now you got to figure out how to, fix your country, sort of. I don't know. That would be more honest to me than like, we're not doing that, says you, or, but it's not necessarily a bad thing for your country. It's a bad thing for my country. And this is the last thing that I'll end on before I read a few comments. This is where people need to figure out what they want. If Israel wants everybody to not like them for the most part, but they want to be feared and they want to be powerful and they want to do what they want, then this is a perfect way, right? Everyone doesn't have to like what you want. Who cares? People are going to hate us, but we're going to do what's in our best interest. That's one way to look at it. And if that's the case, then you just can't be surprised that nobody likes it. Or if you're nervous that, or don't like the fact that most of the world is turning against Israel to some extent, or most of the world is not in favor of what they're doing, then you need to make some compromises based on your own interests. I mean, that's what it really comes down to. If you're Israeli, do you not care that what everybody thinks? Then keep doing what you're doing. And most people are not going to like it, but you don't have to care. But if you actually do care, and the people that are saying they're concerned with the fact that so many younger people don't agree with Israel on the right and the left, and you want to change that, then there has to be some honest discussion and compromise. Because I think, like in due time, most people in America are going to be very unfavorable, and politics will probably change in this country. If that doesn't concern you, then it's not a big deal. But if it does concern you, then you do have to think about other people. It would be like, if I ran my street or something and everybody like hated me because I was really mean to everybody, but at the same time, everybody feared me, and that was just my role. I was like the scary mob guy on the block or something. It's like, it is what it is. But if you want people to like you, then you got to treat people better. It's up to you, but not treating people right and then pretending like you are, it's not fooling anybody. Like, I don't understand. Like, I get what you're doing to Palestine and journalists there, but people don't have to like it. I get that this country is completely leveraged by Israel to the point where so many companies, organizations, media, business is, run by people that have probably more loyalty to Israel than America. There's probably nothing that Americans can do about it. Like the people with Israeli interests own so much stuff. Like it just is what it is. But through the internet and technology, people are figuring that out. So yeah, naturally they're not going to like that. So I don't know. It's like, do you care what people think or do you not? If you don't, keep doing it. Who cares? According to you. If you do care what people think and you don't want to lose the youth, then you have to be honest about what's going on. And you can't just repeat October 7th and, Hamas for the rest of your life, because it's not working. But, and just, I'm going to say this too. I probably shouldn't, I guess. I don't know what the rules are anymore, but I'm going to say it anyway. When it comes to World War II and the Holocaust, like that's a very powerful narrative, right? And it's very powerful. It holds a lot of weight, and everybody's like, whoa. They're trying to make I'm not saying like they're trying to make, but like in the eyes of everyone else, they want everyone to view October 7th like the Holocaust. Trump talks about it all the time. How is everybody forgetting about October 7th? It's the worst attack since the Holocaust. Like they're trying to have the next generation think about October 7th the same way that the boomers and everybody else thought about the Holocaust, where it's like, holy crap, that's so crazy. That's so horrible. Like, we got to do whatever we can. Everybody's anti-Semitic and everyone's a Nazi. And like that narrative, calling someone a Nazi, calling someone anti-Semitic, looking bad or denying history, like that holds a lot of weight. It gets you like thrown in prison in countries. You lose your entire livelihood. The Holocaust holds a lot of weight in the Western world. for obvious reasons. October 7th, like Trump and Netanyahu and all these people, they want October 7th to be the modern that in order for everyone to like bow down to it and never question anything. But it's not, it doesn't have the same branding, and that's like a huge concern of Trump and Netanyahu and people like that, because they're like, well, we thought everybody was going to see us as the victim and see us as the good guys, and how dare you disagree with us. But it's like, I guess it's because we lived through it and people see what they're doing, and even questions around that day, like I don't see any journalists really asking them about the questions that Haaretz and a lot of these Israeli publications are talking about, like the Hannibal Directive or the Hannibal Initiative, and why the security didn't work, and and now that gives them justification to do whatever they want. Like there's a lot of question marks around it that people see and that people are in real time going through. So although there are a lot of people that are obviously incredibly sympathetic towards that day, it doesn't hold the weight of the Holocaust in the eyes of everybody. And people, even though they feel like that day is sick and terrible, it doesn't stop them from disagreeing with Israel, like the other narrative did for people for decades. So if you look at, I'm just getting into like their strategy, they want that to be the case really badly. And Trump is even like, why is this not working? Why is this not working? There's a lot of reasons it's not working, but I don't know. I don't think it's going to stick the same way. And I don't think it's stopping people from like disagreeing with what Israel's doing now. Like they don't like what Israel's doing. And you can't scream Hamas at them for the next 30 years. And you can't just scream October 7th. Like if I said that let me give you an example. And this did happen in America, by the way. When I said that the Iraq war was a lie, people used 9/11 in America in the same way as like October 7th. They're like, how dare you disagree with America? You're a terrorist. You're Bin Laden, or like this is what they used to say. Now, everybody knows the Iraq war is a lie. Everybody knows the Afghanistan war is a lie. Like calling someone anti-9/11 phobe doesn't work because everybody knows it's a lie. 9/11 worked well in the sense of giving someone a reason to stop people for 10 years. And while they did everything, it did work. Nobody disagreed with it. And anybody who did disagree with the wars in the Middle East was called a terrorist. They're trying to do the same thing with Iran that they did through Afghanistan. So it's not working as well because we've already lived through that psyop. We've already lived through that smear. And it's the same thing as now. It's like we've seen this 100 times. I think 9/11 was a horrible day. But that doesn't mean that everything that came after it was correct and in our interest. It wasn't. Even Caroline Leavitt will admit that now. It's the same thing as October 7th. It's a horrible, horrible day. But that doesn't justify everything that America and Israel does after. And we already lived through that. 9/11 happened. Now we have to go do all those things. Now, Trump and Republicans will tell us all those things were bad. But now the same thing's happening in Israel, but we have to do the exact same thing we did after 9/11. And if you're a terrorist, we already lived through that. It's not working. You can't just smear everybody and use two words. That exact same thing in America already happened. We already did it. They already called everybody terrorists and bad people. And then 20 years later, Caroline Leavitt, the press secretary for the president, is on television saying, yeah, it's all a lie. But when it was happening, Republicans didn't say it was all a lie. They told you after. During lockdowns, they didn't say it was a lie. They told you after. During the mandates, they didn't tell you that it wasn't right. They told you after. Notice a trend. They always tell you after when there's no consequences. We're living in the after now, and people are seeing through it. It doesn't justify any bad things that have happened. It's just the reality of the situation, and it's not going to stick with the same type of branding. That's my opinion. I'm actually going to read a few comments now. Appreciate you guys listening, and I'm grateful that people listen. I'm going to see if I have any super chats. Scroll up. If I don't find any, I'll read super chats from now on. Sorry if I missed yours, but for the next 10 or 15 minutes, I'm going to keep this under an hour, 30 minutes. If you want to get a super chat in, do it. If not, I'll just go off of the situation. Let's see. I'm trying to find a good comment. Some people are just screaming in all caps and stuff. Someone said Alex Jones wants to hire you. I don't think he does, but if he did, I'm not interested. No, I mean, Infowars does their thing and everything, but it wouldn't make sense for me to work there, and I don't want to. But that's no disrespect to Infowars. I like Harrison. I like Rex Jones. They're cool. All right, I'll read this comment. Let me see. Anomaly doesn't realize that proportionally the USA equivalent would be 35,000 citizens massacred, 10 times the number on 9/11. I'm not, it has nothing to do with the amount of numbers, the logic that I'm telling you. Whether 2,000 people died on 9/11, 200,000, 2 million, that doesn't change the fact that that was the tragedy. Then everything after the fact was against our own interests to the point where they're admitting it now. Whether it was 10, 100, 1,000, 10,000, equivalent to 60,000, 600,000. I'm not telling you that. I'm not trying to compare tragedies in the sense of like which one was worse. Because if you talk to an Israeli, they'll freak out at you and say our tragedy is worse because of the population size to the amount of people who died. I'm not sitting here having a measuring contest of which one of our national tragedies was worse. Let's just say I'll give that to you. That was worse, right? As an American, an American should be able to say that ours was worse, but let's just say that one was worse, right? It was worse. Proportional size, more people were dead out of the population size. That doesn't change what I'm saying. Because what I'm saying is not measuring which tragedy was worse. It's just because that happens, it doesn't mean everything following that is right. They often use a tragedy, no matter how big or small, to launch an unjust war that doesn't make sense for national interests. And I'm not an Israeli, so you can have the debate of whether it's good for your national interests or not, because you might win a war against Palestine, but if the whole world ends up hating you, then was it really worth it? I don't know. I'm not Netanyahu. But at the end of the day, like I said with October 7th, there's questions that journalists need to ask that they're not asking. And they don't talk about them on Zionist media. Ask them about the Hannibal Initiative or the Hannibal Directive. The Hannibal Directive was reported by Haaretz in Israeli media, saying that Israel sent out the message to shoot at their own people so they weren't taken as hostages. I'm not making this up. This is not my theory. I'm not a journalist that reported this. Haaretz did, though. Ask them about that. Ask them about the Qatar money or if they actually propped up Hamas. Ask them about the election that Hamas won, if that was forced by Israel. Ask them why they could stop a ballistic missile, but they couldn't stop a paraglider. And then, like I said, ask them if the Hannibal Initiative or Directive was called by the Israeli government. These are journalistic questions to ask them. I'm not downplaying the tragedy, but there's a lot of pieces of that nobody seems that interested in because they just seem interested in doing whatever the Israeli government wants now, using that event as justification. No matter how many people it was, my narrative stays the same. In America, not measuring in size, but in impact of our foreign policy, 9/11 justified all the invasions of the Middle East. Now they tell us that was all a lie. It wasted our money. It killed a bunch of people, and it wasn't for our best interest. Even Republicans admit that now. They use that to launch that. So that's what I'm saying with Israel. They're using that to launch that. In 15 years, they might be telling you, that wasn't in our best interest. Yeah, that was wrong. Oh, well, it's too late now because we already did it. That's what's going to happen. So it's the message is pretty clear. And I appreciate the comment, but this is the thing. And I'm not trying to be rude or anything, but when people are Zionists, they only have like 3 narratives. I can beat those narratives because I have 100 things I could say that make sense. When you're only saying Hamas, October 7th, Hamas, you're not saying anything I haven't heard before. You're saying the name of the people who run Palestine, and you're saying the name of a day. That would be like if you wanted to have a complex conversation about the Iraq war and the Afghanistan war and overthrowing Gaddafi and overthrowing Bashar al-Assad, and all I said was 9/11, 9/11, 9/11, people died. Like, I wouldn't win a debate with you because that's intellectually a weaker argument that's just based off emotion and like catchphrases and names and events. Like 9/11 was a bad day, but I can't just yell 9/11 and say thousands of people died. Like that doesn't change the fact that we invaded Libya and that might have not been the best idea, or the fact that we invaded Syria. But all of these things, they're not for what they told you they were for. Like everything is a lie. They need an excuse to do stuff, and when they do it, they don't tell you why they're doing it, because if they told you why they're doing it, it probably wouldn't make sense. And if you don't believe in false flags, not that I'm saying that those were them, but one has the right to speculate, in my opinion, because there's confirmed false flags that are declassified now, like the fact that they wanted to blow up a boatload of Cubans in order to go after Castro. I wish our government would just go after Castro if they wanted to. Why did they have to kill a bunch of people in order to do it? But that's what they do. I wish they didn't, guys. I don't want to. You think I don't have better things to do with my life? I mean, I'm grateful I'm here and I'm appreciative, but like, you think I want to be the guy sitting here being like, yo, governments would kill people in order to like start a war? I don't just wake up and want to say crazy stuff to people and for shock value. That's what they do. They literally do that. Like, they literally have done that. No one has ever been like, think about that. The JFK files came out and it said, yeah, we'll blow up a boatload of Cubans or, hurt people in the middle of Miami in order to get people again. Why couldn't they just go after Castro? Why do they have to kill people in order to go after Castro? Did anybody get held accountable for that? Was anybody arrested? No, because that's what they do. That's what they do. They do it in foreign countries, and now they do it in America. Okay. Same with if you listen to like Mike Benz. I'm not saying he's the be all end all, but he is good at talking about USAID. If you listen to Mike Benz talk about USAID, what he says is true. They used to do it to other countries, and then eventually they turned their propaganda inward and started doing it to America. And really, they've been doing it for a while with MK Ultra and all of these mind control experiments. But when it comes to like real propaganda, like heavy propaganda to the masses, Mike Benz was like, yeah, I didn't like when they turned it inward. Like, it was supposed to be for other people. They've been doing it for decades upon decades upon decades. Propaganda, false flags, psychological manipulation. It's all out there. It's all obvious. It's not even, debatable. So in order to get to the bottom of any situation, you have to think in these terms. But here's the thing. If something happens that goes in favor of someone's bias, they don't want to think in these terms because then it's like too crazy, right? If, let's just say, a left-wing narrative happened with a mass shooting, and then left-wingers could be like, look, it was a right-winger, look, it was this or that. Then they don't want to look into the nuances of it. Let me use Trump getting shot in his example, okay? People who obsess over Donald Trump when he got shot in the ear, they say, how dare you say that's a conspiracy theory, liberals? How dare you say right-wingers who don't like Donald Trump? How dare you say that he didn't really get shot? That's a conspiracy theory. Why do Trump supporters say that? Because they believe he got shot, because it plays into their bias. It makes him a hero, and it's in their favor. It helped him win the election. Liberals question it because they don't like Donald Trump. So they're like, he probably staged that in order to win the election. And conspiracy theorists that don't like Trump don't like that because they're like, yeah, this seems a little rigged in order to get people to like Trump again, right? I'm not telling you what to believe. I'm just saying the only people that hook, line, and sinker believe that are Trump supporters. And the same reason Trump supporters don't like that are the same reason liberals don't like that, right? If it would have happened to Joe Biden and he would have won the election because he got shot in the ear, Republicans would have said that's fake. And Democrats would have said, how dare you say that's fake? That's real. That's our guy. People are stupid. People are fake. That's the world we live in. People are stupid and people are fake. Every side does exactly what they hate the other side doing. The left, the right, this race, that race. Everybody's a hypocrite in this world, right? So that's the world we live in. I'm just being honest about it. People only want to talk about a false flag if it goes in their favor. And people want to defend something and say, you can't talk about false flags if it's not. Like, the reverse is true. I don't trust anybody. So I'm always like, I don't know, but it's like, if something like that happened in Palestine and it went in the favor of Palestinians, you don't think every Zionist in the world would be questioning it? When something happens in Palestine and somebody dies, they say it's Pallywood. They say it's the fake cameras. It could be. And then when something happens, it's the same, like both sides, everybody's fake. It's like, okay, if you think Palestinians could fake stuff and stage stuff, then what happens if someone accuses your side of staging and faking stuff? What do you say? Oh, you say they're being hateful. I'm going to block the one guy in the chat just because he's being weird. He's calling me like a crypto anarcho puppet or something. I don't make coins. Okay. Donald Trump makes crypto coins, and Gavin Newsom.
The real prediction.
Oh, I don't know why it's bugging out like that, but like, Trump has a crypto coin. I don't have a crypto coin. You obsess over Donald Trump. I have nothing to do with crypto. I don't sell crypto ads. I don't talk about crypto and promote it to my audience. Like Trump does that. Trump has a crypto coin. Donald Trump Jr. says he's starting a crypto coin. If you're obsessed with Donald Trump, I don't care. But why would you say I'm a crypto person when I'm not even, unless you're using crypto in the other way, but still. Van Man said, Bob Ross. Appreciate you, Van Man. You'll never see me tripping. Got the vision. I don't even need assistance. Bob Ross. All I do is chill, chill. My life is for I forget, but I have a song called Bob Ross. Anyway, it's a classic. Look it up, folks. We'll read some other comments. Let's see. Someone said Trump's ear now has is perfect without a scratch on it. I'm not here to debate whether that was real or not. I'm just saying every Democrat who acts like they're above conspiracy theories isn't above conspiracy theories if it goes in their favor. Every Republican who believes every conspiracy theory doesn't want to talk about conspiracy. Now you're just being hateful towards Trump. Everybody's fake. This is the issue. But this is also the blessing, right? The yin and the yang life. There's pros and cons. The sad part is like a lot of people don't understand what I'm saying because everybody's fake. The good part is a lot of people do understand what I'm saying and people want something real in the world of fakeness. You know, it is what it is. I don't spend too much time feeling bad for myself, but it's like 95% of political people won't want to hear what I'm saying because they don't want to admit they're doing it, right? They don't want to admit they're doing it. So they just act like it's not happening. And this happens in every stage of life. Like I play a sport, right? And I'm playing doubles in the sport I'm playing. And the guy that I'm playing with that I don't know, he messes up 10 times in a row. I haven't messed up all game, right? He messes up 10 times, misses points, messing up. And then I mess up one time. Keep in mind, he's already messed up 10 times. He looks at me and goes, dude, and I look at it and I'm like, bro, I'm very self-aware. If I'm playing a bad game, if I'm missing a lot of points, yeah, I understand that I'm messing up. But if you mess up 10 times in a row and I don't say a word to you and I'm picking you up and telling you it's okay, and then I mess up one time and then you start talking shit to me, fuck you. Excuse my language. Like, who do you think you're fooling? Like, talk to God, bro. Don't talk to me. Like, people's egos are outlandish in this world. Bro, I like myself. I don't hate myself. I don't have I don't have self-esteem issues or anything, but it's like, I don't have such a big ego that I'm not aware of what I'm doing in a game. Or like, I get it. I make mistakes. Sometimes I lose my cool or whatever, but I know. I don't like, what type of ego do you have to mess up 10 times? And then I mess up once and then you're acting like it's the first. Like, dude, people are weirdos in this world. And then they expect you to just not say anything. I say something immediately. I don't care if you hate me. I don't care if you don't want to play again. I don't care if you don't want to talk to me. I don't care. I don't have time to babysit a bunch of, grown men acting like 2-year-olds. It's like, go tell your wife. Go lie to somebody in your, like, nobody believes that. I don't believe it. You don't believe it. Go tell somebody who believes you because it's not me. I don't got time for this stuff. That's the world we live in. Everybody's so fake. I'm a registered Republican. I voted for Donald Trump. But I'm honest about it. I'm honest about why. And I'm honest about, if Trump gets shot, I understand why people would question it. I would question it if it were Joe Biden. To be honest, I question it even if it was Trump. I'm not saying it was fake, but I'm not mad that people are. I get why they would. And, to be honest, it is a little weird, but, that could happen. It could happen that he was an inch away from dying. That's crazy. It could be true. Maybe it is. It could also not be true. I don't know. Am I allowed to say that? Because that's the reality of the situation. I don't know. Could have been both ways, but every Republican that's upset at that, every Republican that can't fathom, how could Democrats question that? Shut up, you liar. You would question it if it were Joe Biden. You would question it if it were Kamala. You question everything, but now you're against conspiracy theories because the left has one that they actually believe in because it goes in their favor. You don't have to believe it, but now you're above. How could you question that? What are you talking about? You question the moon landing. You question vaccines. You question the lockdown. You question if Joe Biden has a body double, but now they can't question if Trump's ear got hit. Like, get over yourself. Everybody's so fake in this world. I'm so tired of everything being so fake. And speaking of fake, if Donald Trump really cared about America and Europe and all our allies, why doesn't he sanction England for opening the floodgates and destroying their nation to the point where England won't even exist anymore. If Donald Trump actually gave a shit about Europeans, he'd be sanctioning Europe right now for replacing their people and creating a foreign nation. Yet he sanctions Russia and India. He doesn't sanction India for the things they're doing to America and Europe. He sanctions India because they're working with Russia. Donald Trump is a clown. He doesn't use his purchasing power or our banks or our foreign aid to help Europeans. He doesn't do anything. Like, why don't you sanction England tomorrow and say, hey, allow free speech and allow English white people in your country to question immigration, or else I'm going to destroy you. He doesn't do that. He's just mad at India for buying from Russia. Donald Trump is a cornball. He's a total cornball, better than Biden, sure, but fake opposition cornball. He's better. He closed the border. Thank you. Appreciate it. That needed to happen. That will help a lot. We appreciate it. But besides that, total cornball. He doesn't use the sanctions for anything for United States or European interests. And I'm not saying you have to care about Europe, but it's like, why is he's so mad at Russia? Maybe it has something to do with the currency and it'll help us in the long term. But it's like, you really want to show me you're helping the world? Fix our country and then help other countries help our allies. You're not helping our allies at all, but whatever. Someone said, rule by executive order is a bait and switch because these measures never get legislated in Congress. It's a scam. I mean, at the end of the day, I understand the system and I understand what he's doing, but it's like, just do it morally, right? Do it morally. I understand Congress is this. You pass an executive order. Is it moral? Does it help or does it not? If it helps and it's moral and it's the right thing to do, then do it, but he's not always doing that. He passed an executive order for Big Pharma. He passed an executive order for Israeli speech laws. He passes executive orders for tariffs, but then he says that he's mad at India for all the wrong reasons. There's genuine reasons to be mad at India, but because the Indian leader is not a total pushover, dude, these people don't care what Trump's saying anymore. It's like Xi and Putin and just throw me off my own stream. That's fine. But anyway, they're like, yeah, we don't care about Trump anymore. I mean, we can't just start a war against everybody. It's not like, hopefully they don't do that. That would be sick if they did. But, I think Israel just killed like the prime minister of Yemen. They can get away with that with smaller countries that are not that powerful. But with like India and Russia and China, I think diplomacy is the way. And I want to see America first diplomacy. Sanction a country if it's in our interests, or sanction a country if it's in moral interests of, it doesn't hurt us and at the same time helps another country, like, Canada or Europe or really anywhere. But if it's against our interests or just totally screwing over other countries, we're not going to sanction England for not allowing free speech and replacing English people, but we'll sanction Canada over Palestine, not because they're replacing French and American people with other people, but over Palestine. We won't sanction, Europe to fix Europe, but we'll sell them a bunch of GMO genetically modified beef that's going to poison Europeans. It's like him and Howard Lutnick want to make a deal. Buy our shit beef that nobody wants to eat here. Buy our shit food that's making everybody sick in America. Buy our shit food, Europe. Buy our shit food, Australia. Even though you guys are way healthier because your politicians don't hate you as much as our politicians do and they feed you real food. That's what Trump's doing to Europe and Australia. He's feeding them shit beef that they don't want. I think he did some sort of deal with Mexico for GMO corn because that's just what Mexico needs, right? All the Mexicans need genetically modified shit corn that's worse than the corn they're growing in their own. Like, Trump is honestly like a horrible, horrible person. As a politician, Biden is a demon. Kamala is a demon. So it's not like, oh, you could have voted the other. You're not voting your way out of this evil, unfortunately. However, like, that's like Alex Jones. Like, he always makes excuses for Trump. Like, what's your excuse that he's selling genetically modified shit food all over the world to hurt people? Him and Howard Lutnick. Trump would sell water to a whale and salt to a snail. The dude doesn't care. He's a businessman just like every other businessman in America. They have no loyalty to their people. They have no moral code. They'll just make money. That's who Trump is. He's a money maker. It's good for stocks, but as far as the American people in Europe, it's all crumbling because of people like Donald Trump, fake opposition leaders. And at least Trump is better than European leaders. I'd rather have Trump than some cat lady who looks like she should be my librarian from second grade. She's like, I hate myself. I hate my race. I hate Europeans. Okay, lady. Like, how do you look like you should be a barista bagging my groceries or in a library. How did a country of hundreds of millions of people or tens of millions of people come together and be like, yeah, that lady's going to lead us all? You shouldn't even be the lead person at the library. There should be some principal that's a man above you. Someone said, who causes the mass immigration and why it happened in multiple countries in the same decade? There's a lot of ways you could twist this, but there, I mean, that I could talk an hour about how mass migration happened to America. So I'll just save it for another time. But thanks for the super chat. I don't want to go on like a 30-minute rant right now. I kind of want to keep this under like an hour 45. I went past an hour 35. That's okay. But, someone said, no wonder they are pushing big pharma for pancreas issues as the glue lab and fake meats can't be digested. I don't know about that, but I'm not surprised. They have a solution for every problem that they cause. Usually they're like, oh, what do you know? This problem caused this. We have a new pill for that. We have a new injectable. Ozempic. Are you fat from all the food and shit we've been feeding you? Are you getting pretty fat no matter how much you work out and exercise because we're poisoning you in every sort of way through the food and the water everywhere in the United States of America? To the point where if you go to Europe for 2 weeks and eat like shit, you come back and lose 10 pounds. Oh, you're fat like everybody in America from all the shit we've been feeding you, all the cattle fodder. Well, instead of taking care of yourself, exercising, or looking for good foods, why don't you take this pharmaceutical that you can inject yourself with? And then you can get really obsessive, insanely skinny. And we won't talk about the side effects until we get sued again in 5 years. Oh, yeah, that's real fun. And people are like, sounds like a pretty good deal. I want to lose weight. Let me... I'm getting too skinny. What's going on with my body? I don't know. I don't know what's going on with your body. What did you just inject yourself with? How did they convince you to do injectables now? I don't do pharmaceuticals, but I watch enough Jeopardy. And it's mostly older people watching Jeopardy, so they just sell me pharmaceuticals. But everything's an injectable now. After COVID, they brainwashed everybody to get locked down for 2 years, and they're like, you know what? We're going to go from pills to self-injectables. They're like, yeah, this is normal. Squink, squink, squink. You know what Europe and Australia needs? Our garbage beef from Howard Lutnick. Howard Lutnick would love to sell you our garbage beef that's destroying our nation. Hey, Europe, you're not doing well. You're getting replaced by migrants, and pretty much your entire continent is going to fall apart, even though you guys built some of the coolest shit in history, and it's where everybody wants to travel to. We're going to ruin all of Europe. But the one thing that is pretty good about Europe right now is like, the food is pretty good, the quality is good, and people are pretty healthy there because they're eating like not poison. Well, now because of Donald Trump and Howard Lutnick, they want to shove shit down your throats. And then Alex Jones wants to sit there on Infowars and act like it's some sort of three-dimensional chess, but he's totally not QAnon. And then every Trump dick rider is like, I stand with Israel. I'm sure you do. Why don't you stand with the American people? Why don't you stand against the pharmaceutical industry? Why don't you post every week, I stand with vaccine injured. I stand with people who are suffering from inflation. I stand with United States businesses. Because nobody tweets about standing unless you're like a cornball. Nobody tweets, I stand with Black Lives Matter. I stand with the trans community. I stand with LGBTQ. Wait, no, I'm sorry. It's LGBTQ plus XYZW exclamation point equal sign. I stand with them. I stand with them on my Twitter feed. I'm sitting down, but I'm standing with them. Nobody tweets about standing. You just talk. Every Republican stands with a million things, yet they only stand with Israel on their X account. I stand with Israel. Good boy. Good boy. Here's your bone. Did you catch your... Good boy. Oh, good boy. Oh, good boy. Maybe you can go kiss the wall. Oh, good boy. Oh, you're such a good boy. Maybe you could take Adelson donor money. Oh, good boy. Oh, good boy. Oh, good boy. Pretend like there's no Israel lobby. Good boy. Like, it's so dehumanizing. How many thousand of opinions do you not tweet I'm standing for? You don't tweet any of them. That's for like liberal activists. I stand with Jussie Smollett. You're sitting in a chair on your X feed at a coffee shop paying $7 for a latte. You're not standing. You're sitting down. You stand with Israel, go live in Israel. You stand with Israel, go stand in Israel, and then stay there, and then join the IDF, and then don't come to America. Go fight for them. You're not standing for nothing. You're standing against your own people. You're standing against morality, logic. You're standing against your own religion, and you're standing up with a bunch of people that are going to clap for you because you're doing their work like a cattle. Congrats, bro. I stand with healthy foods. I like healthy food. I don't stand with healthy foods. I just try to eat it when I can. But I also eat like shit because I live in America and I get treated like cattle. So sometimes I forget and I eat the cattle slop. But I'm busy. That's what I tell myself. That's my excuse. Come on. What would David Goggins do? David Goggins would, put a boat on his shoulders and run a mile with a kayak on his shoulders or something. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put a kayak on my shoulders and run long distances to show everyone that I stand with the health industry. It's like, dude, it's so corny. I'm going to tweet, what should we stand with today? I stand with Thomas Massey. I like Thomas Massey, but I would never even tweet that. I'm standing firm with him on my X feed. All right, bro. Relax, dude. Goggins is a psycho. You're a psycho if you don't want to put a kayak on your head like a hat and run a marathon. You can't wear a kayak hat and run a marathon. You're not a man like David Goggins is. You stand with bananas. They're a delicious food. Someone's got to do it. You stained your mattress. That's disgusting. Why would you say that? Someone said Alex fired Owen Shroyer. I don't think Alex fired Owen. I just think he was making Owen feel weird and Owen wanted to leave. I don't think Alex fired him. I get it. I get where Owen's coming from. I get where Alex is coming from. But just as far as their reporting and their tweets and stuff, Owen's is cooler than Alex, in my opinion, but whatever. You stand with legs. That's a good one. You said you stand with Viagra and sweatpants. That's weird, dude. Why are you guys being weird? You're going to make me leave my own stream out of just pure weirdness, but it's been too long anyway. Let's make the last 3 minutes better than this last 5. You stand with spinach over kale. I get it. I think I like spinach better too. Someone said Marjorie Taylor Greene is a big trader. They all do it, but just remember that 8 million in the last 24 months. Yeah, I mean, here's my thoughts on Congress being able to make money off of stocks. It's probably not the best idea when they control the market. Like there's, I think if I had it my way, no donor money to me would go further than no stocks. I mean, it is a little rigged, but I think the donor money is the bigger issue. With that being said, Marjorie's been on fire. She's been authentic. She's been real, but she's also making a bunch of money. To me, like, I get why people don't want Congress to be able to trade stocks, and I think it probably makes the most sense. But I think there's like 15 problems more than that. Like, I don't think Nancy Pelosi's problem is that she's making money off stocks, even though it's obvious. I think she's in bed with the businesses. Is that because she's making money off stocks? Is that because she's taking money? Like, there's, I don't know. If Nancy Pelosi were keeping it real, then I probably wouldn't care that she was making money on stocks. If she were serving America's interests and being super honest, but she's not. So with Marjorie, it's like, I'm sure if they ever pass a law that Congress can't trade stocks, she'll probably sell her stocks and cash out. But I'm not gonna bash her for that. It's like, it is what it is. I don't know. Like, I get it, but she's been very honest recently, and nobody else is. So, like, clearly that's not stopping Marjorie Taylor Greene from being honest. Then why is it stopping other people? I don't know. Someone said, why don't you invite Fuentes? I don't know. Why doesn't he invite me to his show? It's like, I don't know. I've always been honest about what I think about him. I've never like thrown him under the bus when everybody was for clout. It's just one of those things where, like, I don't have that many guests. I want to have Rex Jones on next week just because I want to. he could invite me on his show. I could invite him on my show. I just don't, and he doesn't invite me. I'm not mad at it. I don't care, but it's one of those things too. I guess I would say this too. And this is like, I've talked about the Nick and Candace and Tucker beef. Certain people are always beefing with a lot of people, and that makes me want to talk to them less. I'm not saying Nick's wrong. I'm not saying he's right. I don't know where it started or why, but Nick is someone that it seems like he's constantly fighting with other people. He's friends with Sneeko, then they're not friends. He's friends with Jaden, they're not friends. I'm not saying it's Nick's fault. I don't know whose fault it is. You know, like he liked Candace, then he doesn't. I'm not saying it's his fault. I've never gone out of my way to like bash him or anything. But if you really want to know, I guess even more than like, it's not like, oh, I'm going to get censored or whatever with Nick. When people are constantly beefing with everybody, it's not that I blame them or I hate them. It's just, it makes me want to talk to them less. Because like there's other people that I've done their show and now they're beefing with someone they used to have best friends and they're tweeting about it all the time. I'm a grown man at this point. Like I don't have time for like, I don't even understand how everyone has time for all this stuff. Like if I don't see it going anywhere, it's like, I want to focus on my mission, not some personal drama with another dude that I don't even know, or, you know, like, and that's what a lot of this turns into. Owen and Alex, it's different. They worked together for years, but some of this like internet beef, everyone's beefing with everyone all the time. And it, to me, I just, you know, I just want to like stay out of it. I like being honest and keeping my distance. You know, some people I want to talk to often. Other people I want to keep my distance from. Doesn't mean they're bad. It doesn't mean I hate them. It doesn't mean I'm afraid to talk to them. It's just, you know, I noticed that trend with certain people. Some people will, like, I know people that work for someone and then they hate them and then they're exposing them and then they use, like, what is going on? You know what I'm saying? Like, how is this all happening? I've seen it doesn't make sense to me. And I don't want to feel that way. Like even with Alex Jones, I'm not trying to have a huge blowout with Alex Jones. I like a lot of things he used to do. I like some things he does now. A lot of things I disagree with. Do I hate Alex Jones? No. But is Alex Jones ever going to beef with me over what I said today? No. Why? Because he does. I'm not connected to him. You understand what I'm saying? My opinion's authentic. It's real. It's thoughtful, even though I'm critical. But I've never been connected to him, so he doesn't feel a reason to feel personally attacked by me. I'm just being honest, and I'm trying to compliment him as much as possible while saying I don't listen to him and I don't trust him. This is where people get in trouble. They become best friends with someone, then they're worst enemies. They're best friends, then they're worst enemies. I've kept my distance with all these people because I could tell from a mile away where it's like, I'm not disagreeing with what you're saying all the time, but how you're handling personal relationships. Like, think about me. There's been a few people that I've done business with and it didn't work out, right? How often have you heard me tell that story? There's someone who I was annoyed with that I felt like kind of sabotaged our business a little bit, but it wasn't a big deal. And I'm actually friends with the guy now. Like, I hung out with them. I'm not mad at him. I understand where it went wrong. I still think I was more in the right. However, I get it. And we've moved on, and I still like him because I think he's a good guy. So you get what I'm saying? Like, the people that I've actually worked with that business has gone wrong, I don't talk about publicly, and I forgive them, and I hope they forgive me. Tim Pool, I've never done business with. He's just a scumbag. Tim Pool's never been close to me. I was supposed to go on a show, and he's a scumbag. I've talked about that, but it's not like we were best friends or anything. It's just he booked me for a show. He screwed me over, and it was just weird. His booking agent's like, we've never had a problem like this, but I guess we've never booked somebody this close to the show. So I'm the first person you booked this way? You've never booked anyone in the hundreds of guests you guys have. You've never booked someone with no leeway. So if I get delayed for an hour, I can't go to the show even though I'm on time. That's never happened to you, but it happened with me. Like, it doesn't make sense. I feel like Tim's team screwed me over. I think they purposely did it. And I think Tim Pool is just a scumbag. It's not me doing business with Tim and getting real close to him. It's just him booking me for a podcast and him screwing me over. However, I haven't talked about that in a year or so. But when it happened, I did talk about it a lot. But, it's not like, oh, that's Anomaly's got 50 people he talks about like that. I don't, because I don't go on that many podcasts, and nobody else does that besides Tim when they're booking me. there's some other situations, like certain people that I've talked about too. I almost did business with them, and then it became a different type of relationship. So I guess I'm trying to also learn from my lessons too, where it's like, to anybody that has been weird in the past, it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, I want to avoid that so I can just talk from a distance. This way it doesn't get weird. For an example, me and Patrick Bet-David have talked a lot, and he claimed that he tried to hire me, and I think he did. I don't know. You'd have to ask him, but in general, I don't agree with a lot of what Patrick says, but he doesn't invite me on the podcast, so I can't have a public conversation about it. Now I feel weird talking about him because I know him. You know what I'm saying? Sort of. I don't know him like I'm best friends with him, but it's like now it seems like I'm being a hater. Now it seems like this, where if I never met Patrick and I didn't know Patrick, I would just talk about him and be like, yeah, I disagree. I've never met the guy, but I don't agree with him. But now it feels a little weird. Maybe I should hit him up and be like, can I go on the podcast? But I don't know that I really care that much, but it's like, I'm not impressed with what they're doing, but now it feels weirder talking about it because, I almost wish we never talked. This way I could just talk what I thought and not really think twice about it. But what I would love to do would be have a conversation publicly so everyone can see about topics, not personal stuff. I don't care about what happened between us. I want to talk about America. I want to talk about Trump. I want to talk about Israel. I want to talk about the speech laws. I want to talk about the conversation, the average conversation on this podcast, which just does not impress me in any way. He could talk about what doesn't impress him about my show. That's fun to me, not like not having to think about it, but it's whatever. So Anomaly, donate your hair to Tim. I could do that. I could shave it off and give it to Tim if he wants that. But then he'll be weird. He'll look really weird with long hair. Someone said that feels weird, but you've mentioned it many times. Well, like I'm saying, even with like Owen, I'll say this before I leave with Owen Schroyer. It's weird. Like if your boss disagrees with you, but you guys work together, I get that you don't have to agree with your boss, but it gets weird. Like if Owen's on his show and his boss is lying, like you don't want to talk about it, but you do. You know what I'm saying? Like you want to disagree, but you can't disagree. And then you leave and you say it and it looks like you're stabbing back. That's why it's just better to keep your distance sometimes because it doesn't seem personal. Yeah. Like, do I not want to talk about it? I want to learn from my mistakes and really try to, do better next time so I don't even have to think this way. But yeah, like obviously when I talk about stuff, I do want to talk about it. Like I said, here's the thing. I want to talk to Patrick on his show. I feel a little slighted that he almost tried to hire me. We went back and forth for months, yet he doesn't even respect me enough to have me on the show. I've mentioned to him, I didn't like how a lot of his team was talking to me. I've talked to a lot of successful people, a lot of rich people, a lot of businesses. I just don't like the way they communicated with me. I don't like a lot of things about how it happened. Personally, I don't. But with that being said, I don't care about that anymore. I just don't agree with what Patrick's doing. I don't agree with what he's saying. But it's like, I don't want to make a bunch of videos being like, oh, Patrick's lying about Israel or whatever. Like, cause then like, I don't really want to get into it, but it's like, I don't know. I commented on his Twitter one time and then he just called me and then we just like argued on the phone about it. I don't care, but it's like, I don't want to argue with Patrick on the phone. I don't even want him to call me like that. I want to go on his show. I'm not interested in having a private conversation about something I said on Twitter that I disagree with him on now because he almost tried to hire me and his team were kind of douchebags a little bit to me and he kind of played me a little bit, but it didn't work out. Not a big deal. We never signed anything. It's totally not a big deal. But now what? I owe loyalty to him forever because a situation went wrong business-wise with him when normally I would be talking about this stuff way more probably, but I don't want to seem like I'm talking. I just want to be on the show. You understand what I'm saying? Like that's my situation here. Yeah, I don't talk about it every day or all the time, but now I feel like pigeonholed where it's like, I don't want to talk about what he's saying because it seems weird. And then maybe he'll call me and get mad again like he did last time. But if he's going to call me and get mad about it, just invite me on the show and we can talk about it publicly. I don't want to talk about private things. I want to talk about what I disagree with him on. And one time I just tweeted to what I disagreed with him on and he just called me. and was like, trying to like talk to me like, oh, let me tell you something. And I was like, let me tell you something. You're not my father. You're not my boss. You're successful in business, but in the media space, I've been here longer. I'm honest. You're not more honest than me. I'm not trying to have you telling me what to say. You're rich because you made money off insurance. That's cool. You have more money. You have a big podcast. That's cool. But I have richer and more famous people who respect me more than he respects me. I'm not trying to have an argument or conversation. I'm not trying to have some guy that I don't owe anything to tell me let me tell you this. No, like he thinks like he's everybody's like dad or something. It's like, you're cool. You do cool stuff, but I'm good at what I do. I'm better at media. I'm more honest. I'm more authentic. I'm more truthful. I'm great at what I do. You're not impressive to me. I don't need a phone conversation about what you think I should say or what you shouldn't say. Not interested. Don't work for you. Not interested. Not impressed with what you're saying. Don't agree with you. Don't care. Not interested. Let's have a podcast about it. Let's have a debate about it. Not a call me scolding session when I don't need to be scolded because I don't care what you think. You understand? So yeah, it's a little bit annoying when someone wants to tell you something privately, which is fine. And I'm not going to get into like details that matter because he's cool. I think he likes me to some extent and I don't hate him. I just don't agree with what he's saying or doing. And I didn't think his interview was good. And I'm not that impressed with the podcast. So probably it never would have worked out between us anyway, which is totally fine. But do you respect me enough to bring me on your show? I have 1 billion views. I have millions of followers. I'm more successful, or I don't know if successful is the right word, but I'm better known than all of your hosts. You put these people on a podcast. I've done it with no budget, and everywhere I go, people recognize me. I have over 1 billion views and millions of followers. I reach 150 million people a month on Facebook. I'm not a small fry. I'm not asking for a red carpet, but do you respect me enough to have me on the podcast? I don't want anything. I don't want money. I'll pay for my own hotel. I'll pay for my own travel. I don't care. But I've never gotten an invite on the podcast. Do I need to ask? Why do I need to ask? You run a podcast. You talk to hundreds of people. You said you wanted to hire me. We went back and forth with your team for months, yet you don't respect me enough to talk on the podcast. But then when I disagree with you, you're upset about it. I don't know. What am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to say? Say nothing? Say something? I don't know. It just puts me in a weird spot. I just want to talk about it now because I don't talk about it that often. And I'm just being very honest. I want to talk about someone said he knows about the Middle East. I respect his opinions about Iran and Israel. I'm not asking him to agree with me. He's from there. He doesn't have to agree with me. Listen, I don't want to even talk to you about it. I want to go on the show and I want to talk to him. I'm well-spoken. I'm articulate. I know what I'm talking about. I'm not going to sit there and tell him that he needs to think what I think about Iran. He could hate Iran. He could like Israel. I don't care. It doesn't bother me. That's not what I want to talk about. I want to talk about America. I want to talk about the anti-Semitism speech laws. I want to talk about the softball interview where there was no real questions asked. And that, also matters, I think, to our domestic and foreign policy, because our foreign policy is tied to their policy and our domestic policy is tied to their foreign policy, because Trump will even do stuff for domestic citizens based on whether a country does or doesn't like Israel. So there's a lot of things I want to talk about, but it's not, I'm not going to sit on Patrick's podcast and tell him to think what I think about Iran. I'm not that stupid. I'm not that ignorant. I'm not that egotistical. That's not what I'm going to do. I don't care how much he likes another country or not, or how much it doesn't matter to me. But I just don't, I don't know. Like I feel like I just want to have the conversation with him, because this way everyone could see it. Everything's above the belt, nothing weird, nothing personal. And it's about policy. It's about America. And if I'm so wrong, he could make me look dumb. And if I'm right, if I'm as right as I think I am, then I'm going to look smart. It's that simple. I'm not asking to be unchallenged. I'm not asking to talk to myself against a wall. I want to be challenged. I want to hear how I'm wrong. I want his podcast team to say whatever they want to me. I don't care. I know, like, but this is my, and I'm not, this is not with him. And maybe, and to be self-reflective, maybe I'm overthinking it. Maybe not. You guys can let me know what you think in the comment section. And this is something I've told Patrick. Before he got into the media, in 2019, nobody wanted to talk about the Israeli speech laws in America. And Charlie Kirk and Ben Shapiro basically formed a gate and, shunned everybody who would talk about it. So in my opinion, there's a 5-year Republican cover up on this topic. And I believe, like I'm just guessing, I have friends who work at these media companies, and I had somebody who worked at Blaze TV at the time, and he told me that a lot of people were bad-mouthing me and saying that I was far-right and anti-Semitic. So I already know at some of these media companies that they were putting out a blacklist on my name, and they said, you can't talk about this stuff. So I've already been well equipped, and they have on people that don't have big followings all the time. And it's not a dick measuring competition. I'm just saying, I'm not a pushover. I'm not a small fry. They all act like I'm not. Oh, Anomaly's just this and that. I reach 150 million people on Facebook with no budget. I have 1 billion views. I have videos with tens of millions of views and millions of shares, millions of people that shared it. On Instagram, I'm bigger than most of all his hosts combined. I'm not trying to have a competition. It's just like they all act like, oh, the reason we don't the reason they don't talk to me is because I speak the truth, and they don't want to have me on the show because they can't make me look crazy, because they can't make me look racist, because they can't make me look bad, because I'll run circles around all of them and I'll speak the truth, and then they'll feel dumb. They'll feel dumb once their audience realizes they're not being honest and I am. And there's nothing they can say about it. And if I'm wrong, somebody prove it to me. Charlie Kirk doesn't want to talk to me. Ben Shapiro doesn't want to talk to me. Apparently, Patrick doesn't want to invite me on the show. He knows who I am. We've talked for years. I've got no invite on the show, probably because it won't get as many views as some other people. Okay. So now you're just another media company that doesn't want to let me say something, yet you're saying something that doesn't even make sense. And I'm not owed anything. He doesn't have to have me on. I could build my own platform. I could talk to other people, but I want to reach across the aisle. He talks to Dave Smith. He talks to this person. Can't talk to me. I don't know. I think it would be interesting. And I think there's a lot to be said. So it's like, I feel a little different about it because it's not like I need attention. To be honest, I've laid low the last couple of years because I don't want to like scale and be everywhere. Like it's stressful. I'm just like, let me do my thing. Let me talk to people who care. And every now and then when I'm feeling inspirational, then I have a big hit or I do something big. But it's like, I'm not trying to be Candace Owens or Tucker Carlson. That seems stressful. But with that being said, it's like, I'm not looking at it like, oh, get me on the podcast so I could get views. I don't need views. What I want is to challenge. If you're going to now reach hundreds of millions of people and be one of the biggest podcasts in the world, but the discussion that's being had just seems very not like, it doesn't, it just seems like, another like Fox News sort of thing a little bit, not completely, but it's like, you got this guy who has bad opinions and this guy who comes on and says no. And then you say this, I don't know. Maybe that's not the right thing to say, but it's like now it just feels like a new version of what we didn't like. Like we didn't like Fox News. We didn't like what Daily Wire was doing. There was a line being drawn, and now you're coming along, and it feels very similar. And it feels very similar, and it's been an issue for 6-7 years in Republican media. But there's other people that are now speaking their mind. Tucker Carlson speaking his mind. Candace Owens is speaking his mind. People like Nick Fuentes are getting extraordinarily popular. So, to be honest, I don't take it personally. I just think that I don't get as much views as them. Like if even Nick Fuentes, I bet Nick will be on Patrick's show before me. Not because Nick can do it better. And I'm not, it's not a competition with Nick. Nick is very intelligent and articulate, but it's because Nick is very popular now. So Patrick looks at Nick and says, he's going to get a lot of views. I want the views. I'm not going to bring as many views as Nick Fuentes will. So it's a business. And I'm not, it's probably a business decision. It would be worth it to do a deal with Anomaly, maybe if we own a percentage of what he's doing. And if we don't, I don't even respect him enough to have him on the show because it's not worth our money. That's probably what it is. I get it, right? I'm not as good for business because I don't have a big moment. But if I ever have a big moment and then everybody wants to talk to me, then Patrick will want me on the show because it'll make him money, right? And he has every right to run a business that way and get views. Sure. But I don't know. I just feel like nobody's saying they're framing everything in a certain way so nobody knows what's going on. If you watch Fox News, it's left versus right or Zionist versus the Hamas. And if you listen to Patrick, like, he said recently, I don't understand all these people with Israel derangement syndrome. Okay. Should I make a video and explain why? I was thinking about it. I might. I'd rather just talk to him. I don't want to seem like I'm being sneaky making all these videos, but it's like, will he have me on the show to explain why him saying Israel derangement syndrome is weird, like pretending the issues that he doesn't understand Republicans have? Because now, to me, he's just acting like Ben Shapiro or Charlie Kirk. Like that's a Ben Shapiro move. Oh, you're just deranged. That's what Tim Pool says. It sounds like a Tim Pool talking point. So, like, what do? Do I make a video about it, or do I actually just talk to him? I want to just talk to him, but it's not mutual. So these are my options. I either have to disagree and make my own videos, or I have to just sit there and never say anything because I once talked to him. I don't know. It's just, there's a lot of ways you could play it, but I would rather just have a public conversation about these topics. It just seems like a lot of people don't want to. And the people who want to are usually the people who agree with me. And then it's like, I don't even need to say this because their audience already knows it. Like I'm going to potentially go on a big podcast later this month. And it's going to be people that aren't, it's going to be easy because they're going to just say, yes, I agree with you on everything. Someone said there's a whole, sorry, I want to read. Whose cocaine was it at the White House? I don't know. You can let me know what you think. Someone said, I'm not going to read that comment, but let's see. Everybody just arguing about Nick in the comments. See, I mean, that's why he's good for TV, though. People have such strong opinions about Nick. He's like Andrew Tate. It's like, there's something to that. I mean, I feel like that makes you a bigger superstar. Like, if you really want to get really popular, then there has to be controversy. Let me give you an example with someone like Dave Smith, right? Dave, he's been well known for years now, and he's been well respected. He's been on Joe Rogan a bunch of times, but his show was never that popular until he became the guy who would go on Piers Morgan and debate Zionists all the time. So even though Dave Smith has been good for a long time, his views and his worth didn't start skyrocketing until there was controversy. He's a Jewish American who doesn't agree with Zionists, and he's really smart, and he's usually winning debates against them on massive, massive platforms. And now that he's a massive deal, everybody wants him on their platform because Dave will bring a lot of views, and Dave will debate some Zionist, and they'll get mad at each other, and them getting mad will create a viral moment the same way Patrick uses Adam, the dumb one on the show, to create viral moments. Like, Adam's dumb, Vinny's cool, dumb versus cool. Like, Patrick knows what he's doing. It's like, it's creating these controlled moments of like, look at that. So with Dave, it's like now everybody invites Dave Smith everywhere because Dave is such a big superstar. I get it. He's good for business. I'm not knocking it. I guess I'm just not that person where, like, I talked to Dave Smith a year ago before he had that many views. He was doing well, but I was just like, I like Dave Smith. So if I like somebody like Rex Jones, I want to have him on because I think he's cool. I have no idea how many views it's going to get. I don't look at it and think Rex is going to bring me if I wanted the max amount of views, I would hit up Candace Owens and schedule an interview as soon as I possibly can. And she'd probably do it. She's done it before. I want to do things that I want to do at the times. I'm not just like grifting for views at every second that I need all my friends to give me them. So, I'm not like, this was not a knock at Dave Smith. I like Dave Smith. I'm just saying everyone acts like they're Dave Smith's friends now just because they want the views that Dave will bring. When Dave couldn't bring that many views, most people didn't want to talk to him except for libertarians and people like Joe Rogan who like him and respect him. So, that's kind of the thing of like conservative media and just media in general. A lot of people, I understand why for business, they want views, but I guess the point that I'm trying to make is I don't know that I want to be that person. So maybe I'll never get invited to some of these podcasts. I could talk to Candace. I could talk to a few people, but I don't know that I want to take the route Dave Smith took. I think he's very brave for doing so, and I think he's awesome, but you almost have to like become that guy and start arguing with rabbis, and like then it becomes this massive controversy. And it's like, in order to scale times 10, you got to 10 times the amount of stress, 10 times the amount of issues. I don't know if that's as appealing to me. And I'm not just saying that, but it's like, if I sat down and I thought to myself, how do I get 10 times as popular right now? I could probably figure out a way to do it. And it would probably involve some sort of beef or some sort of like, left versus right paradigm of like huge moment. I don't know that I want to do that. I actually don't want to do that. And people might not believe me and they might think I'm lying, but it's just like, I don't know. In order to be Tucker Carlson or Candace or somebody that like puts himself in the fire, it comes at a certain cost. And I'm not trying to run for office. I don't think I want to do this until I'm like 60 years old. And I see myself, even though I'm grateful for what I do, I see myself within 5 to 10 years, like phasing out of this and running a different type of business that I enjoy more. I like doing this, but to be honest, I don't like getting hundreds of messages a day. I don't like people being pissed off. It's just like for my nervous system, it's I like simple. I like simple people. I like calm energy. I don't like chaos. This is a chaotic job. This is, like in order to even do what I do, I have to simplify the chaos and feel good about it. But I don't know. So I guess, I'll do what I can. I'll do great stuff for you guys. And at certain moments, things are going to have to get to a point that maybe I wouldn't want in order to get my message across, potentially, like more attention than I'd maybe want. But it's like, I don't know. I'm more interested in like scaling my business than like scaling attention. And I know those things usually go hand in hand, but they don't have to. I don't want to go to the next level. I feel like I'm at a good place right now. Like the amount of people recognizing me, the amount of things I'm doing, I don't want 10 times the stress in order to make 10 times the money, or 10 times the attention in order to make 10 times the guest appearances. I don't, it doesn't seem like a good idea, in my opinion. I just like, someone said sell Trump and Elon merch. That's also not really. Someone said it's the chaos and I appreciate the breakdown. It is chaos and I appreciate the breakdown. Thank you. Everyone's got to be true to themselves. Like Nick seems like he likes the chaos. Candace likes it. Tucker likes it. Dave really seems to enjoy it. I guess I don't, I don't like that. I appreciate the money I make and I appreciate the opportunities I have. Like I'm really grateful, but in order to make money, I have to like post every day. Everybody has to work every day, but it's like I wake up in bed, I post. I go to bed, I just post 24/7 because my job is pretty easy and I'm not going to squander this opportunity and act like I don't appreciate it. I do. I work a lot. I work around the clock. It's easy, but it's just meant like I never turn off. I wake up, I'm working. I go to sleep, I'm working. I never stop. And I think eventually I would like to like go to bed and not think about posting on Facebook, I'll do it. I'm not going to complain. It's good money and I appreciate it, but I don't see myself doing this in 10 years, or I want to not have to do it, and maybe just pop up every, like Cat Williams or something, like pop up, talk shit, get a lot of views and then go do your thing or something. Like that sounds more appealing to me than like being like a talking head on a radio network. Someone said it's better to stay away from negative energy. Remix the YMCA song. I don't think that needs to be necessary. Someone said makes total sense. Appreciate it. Someone said, I like Nick's super chats. Funny how irritated he gets. I only see the ones that go viral. I don't really watch the live super chats. Ed Griffin. Ed's awesome. There's a guy who like stayed. Ed Griffin, like me and him get along so well because I feel like I like the route he took. Ed Griffin is a legend. He made such a huge impact on this world. He has a book that has sold a bunch. What's up with all these balloons? But like Ed Griffin doesn't, he's not in the media all the time. He doesn't like fight with people. That's a great example. I love Eddie Griffin, you said. Anyway, I like how G. Edward Griffin did it. Like he has like a cool approach where it's like massive impact, sold a lot, probably did really well for himself, but isn't fighting with people ever. You ask G. Edward about what he thinks about Alex Jones or anyone, like he's always got like a nice, thoughtful answer. He's not looking for like a moment. He's just like, his moments are just like him doing cool stuff that people like. That would be cool. I'd still like to do documentaries and stuff. And I guess I want to just build a business where I don't have to post all the time. But here's another thing too. And then I'm really going to leave because this doesn't need to even happen right now. But a lot of people they have people doing stuff for them. Like they're not posting on their Facebook. They're not posting on their Twitter. Some people, I also don't want to do that. Like someone could be like, why do you post? Like, why don't you hire someone to post? Cause then it's going to look like Anomalies, not me, like I don't want, I could make probably like 5 times more money if I just had somebody post for me. But if someone posted for me, then it would just be like fake. I don't know. Even on Facebook, people are like, is this really Anomaly? Every post is mine. Every comment is mine. Anything I've said there, it's me. There's no one else posting anything. So, but I feel like that's why my page feels better, So there's decisions you have to make. Everyone makes their own decisions, but I want to have certain conversations. However, if people don't want to have them and that's not what they want to do with their platform, nobody owes me anything and they don't have to. They don't have to talk to me. They don't have to talk, say what I agree with. They don't have to debate me. They don't have to converse with me. But then, eventually, like if you become, it's like if Donald Trump is just a guy and it's like, yeah, I don't care what he thinks. But then Donald Trump becomes president. Well, now I'm not doing reporting to be a hater. I'm doing it because you're a massive platform and I disagree with you. It's the same as like Tucker Carlson or something, like once you become a big podcaster and you have an opinion, people will make reaction videos to it because you're influencing so many people. So, that's kind of like the name of the game. And I think it's kind of like even for myself, I'm big enough that things are going well. But like, imagine if I were on the level of Tucker, where it's like everything I say is a problem. I don't know that I could do that. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure I could if I had to, but like it's like he says something and like 1,000 people are making reaction videos and they're calling him this and that. I don't know about you guys, but to me, that seems like stressful. I live sort of in that world, like sort of I have to deal with that, not to the level of Tucker Carlson or Candace. Everything they say is a story. Everything they say is newsworthy. Every minute, every moment, any part of a live stream, one thing. And you know what I'm saying? It's just like, I don't know. I don't want that. And people I talk to, they always think like, maybe you should do this and maybe you should do that. Maybe. I'm definitely trying to be smart business-wise and be smarter and make and save more and stuff. But if people think I want to times 10 my attention, I don't. I don't want every one of my live streams to be a moment. But that's how you scale in this industry. You get 50 people to work for you. You create 50 TikToks. You create 50 videos on Twitter. But then you have to get in a global argument every day. Think about the psychology of being in a global argument with the whole world. When I used to use Twitter during COVID and argue with people, it used to bother me. I mean, I wish I could go back. I mean, whatever, it happened. But if I could go back 2 years ago and talk to myself, I would say, stop arguing with people on Twitter. Don't respond. Don't argue, because you feel it spiritually, psychologically, literally. You're in an argument with people online, creating all this drama on Twitter because some random account doesn't agree with you or something. Like, then I'm talking to my friends about Twitter like they even give a shit. And they probably are like, dude, stop talking about Twitter. Nobody cares. But that's my world. I'm living in that world. And then you get what I'm saying? And then it's like, I can't get out of it. I'm like a crackhead where it's like everything I'm doing, I'm thinking about my Twitter argument. I'm here. And like, I've been in a pretty good mindset recently where like, my brain is not that clouded. I post a lot, but then I just leave it alone. I'll make a comment, but then I don't think about what people say. I couldn't use Twitter like I used to. And I also don't know if I could, I don't know that I want my videos to be like the hot topic of discussion every 2 seconds. It's just not, it doesn't feel fun. And even if, and I don't know, like I would love, next time I interview Candace or if I ever talk to like Tucker or Nick, I would like to ask them about that because they're all bigger than I am in the sense of like always in drama and controversy. Do they not care about it? Like maybe they don't care and they have a good on and off switch. Or maybe it bothers them. I don't know. I just, I guess if you have a good team around you and you know how to turn it on and off, then it could not bother you. But to me, it's like, it's gotta bother you a little bit. Right. And maybe it doesn't. And maybe they're really strong for that. But I've dealt with a lot of stuff. I've dealt with articles. I've dealt with smear attempts. I've dealt with message. Like, I've dealt with all that stuff. It's not like I don't know what it's like. I just don't know what it's like times 30. You know, what is it like times 30? Like, at least Michael Jordan had lovers and haters, but he's Michael Jordan and he's playing basketball. Like Tucker Carlson, Candace, Nick, like, I mean, someone almost killed Nick. You know what I'm saying? Like, someone went to Nick's house and tried to like shoot him. I mean, that's kind of crazy. Candace is in a lawsuit with Macron from France. Like, that's kind of crazy. I can't imagine waking up and being like, yo, I got to go to court because the leader of France is suing me because I think his wife has a penis. That's crazy. I mean, it's funny, kind of, but it's not me. It's easy to like laugh at it because neither of those are like, not that Nick's is funny, but like Candace's is kind of funny, you know? I guess it's not, but sort of, right? The lawsuit. I don't know what that's like. I don't want to know what it's like, sort of. Let me know in the comment section. Would you, I guess it depends. Everything's a trade-off. Like, would you do that in order to accomplish certain things? I guess I would. I just don't, I'm not going to force it. If I have a moment that puts me in that level through what I'm doing, then I'm fine with it. I'm ready for it to some extent. I can handle it and I'll deal with it. I've dealt with things before. I guess I'm just not seeking that. A lot of people come into stuff and they want that. They want to level up to that level. In music, I always aspired to be an underground legend. I never wanted to like go mainstream. Like, I want to be Drake. I didn't look up to Drake. I didn't look up to, Lil Wayne at the time. I looked up to Jedi Mind Tricks. I looked up to, R.A. the Rugged Man. I looked up to underground rappers. So I guess it's the same thing in media. Like, there's underground rappers that make millions. You might not know who they are, but they're crushing. And then there's Drake that can't even leave his house and, has to play a certain game or else he can't be there, sort of thing. So I guess that's kind of how I think about the media. It's like my underground hip hop instincts are the same as media, where it's like, I'll do a news show on television if it makes sense. I'll take the hits I need to in order to accomplish something, but it's more like being extra picky about it. It's not like, let me sign to this. And if you really want to know, even with news, Nick, I think, did it by himself. How many other people do you know that never worked for anybody else? I'm not trying to hate. I'm just being honest. Like, Tucker worked for CNN and Fox News. Candace worked for Daily Wire, Turning Point, and PragerU at one point. Steven Crowder worked for Blaze TV. Elijah Schaefer worked for Blaze TV. I can't think of like everybody, but it's like, I've never worked for anybody. And in order to do that, I think, I have no problem working for someone else, but it just has to make sense. And I've never looked at a deal like, I need this so badly, I'll sign it. I always look at it like, nah, I don't like what that says. Let me try to renegotiate. And anytime I try to renegotiate, they're usually not interested. They're like, nah, we want to keep it that way. And I'm like, all right, oh, that's okay. Oh, well, nope, no big deal. So I think that has something to do with it too. Like, some people want to get to a certain level as far as like, they want to be the most famous or the richest. I want to be accomplished. I would like I like that I got a Billboard plaque. That's pretty cool for music. I would love to win a Pulitzer Prize if it were possible doing good journalism. It's probably not. But I guess I'm not like, I want to be the most famous, because I don't think fame is good. I'd rather have a wife and a kids and a couple million than really famous. Then if you're really famous, it's like, then it becomes a hindrance on your family. Same with like money. Money is definitely helps, but would I trade my current life for $100 million and me having to be a different person? I wouldn't. That's why, like, and I'm not trying to bring this up, I'm just being honest. Like, when Patrick, and God bless Patrick, but like when he talks to me and says, let me tell you this, you're assuming that I want to be you. You're assuming that I would work for an insurance company if I could and make a bunch of money and then become this guy and do this and do that. You're cool. You've done cool stuff. I don't aspire to run. I would never work at an insurance company. I'm not mad at you. I don't hate you on it, but like, you're talking to me like I want to be you. I don't want to be you. You're not my hero or my idol. And in fact, I think my route is a more honorable and impressive route. I think the kid who got 1 billion views and 1 million followers with no budget by himself against all odds with the left and right working against him, I think that story of the guy who's bigger than anybody on your podcast without any help or corporation behind him, I think that's more interesting than the guy who did an MLM scheme in insurance and made a bunch of money and then started a media company with this money. Like, that is not as cool. You're not as cool as me. And I'm not, it's not a competition, but it's like, I'm not talking to you that way. Don't talk to me that way. I respect you. I respect your team. I've only been complimentary. The problem happened when you guys were being a little disrespectful towards me. It's okay. I'm over it. But I'm just saying, like, I didn't start it. And it's not, there's nothing. It's not a big deal. We're on good terms. I'm just being honest. It's like, I don't talk to you that way. I don't talk to your team that way. Never did. You guys talk to me that way. Now I'm just going to be honest. Don't talk to me that way. I'm fine with it. I'm not mad. I'm not angry, but it's like, I'm not going to call you and say, let me give you advice. If it's financial advice, okay. But if it's media advice, I don't want media advice from somebody that's not as good as media at me. If you view media as who has the most money, then yeah, I'm not the top in the media. If you view who's getting the most views, that's not what I think is great. The best music artists of all time to me are not necessarily the richest music artists. My favorite rapper's not the richest rapper. I don't think wealth and exposure necessarily equals greatness. But also at the same time, I'm not a small fry. And here's the difference. And I'm not trying to be rude, but I'm just letting you into how I think about everything. I don't think you or anyone at your media company could have done what I did. I don't think you could have gotten 1 billion views with no money. I don't think you could have been this interesting or impressive. I don't think your personality and your mind is enough to get you as far as I got with nothing. I don't think you or anybody that you're working with could have been able to do what I did. In fact, I know you couldn't have. You couldn't have. You needed money. You needed connections. You needed to do something else before to implant yourself in and then give all these people a platform who never could have built a platform to the level of mine. And in fact, even with all your help, still haven't reached the level that I've reached. So don't talk to me like I'm worse because I'm not seeking money and insurance. That's not interesting to me. I think Dave Smith is more of a hero than anybody at Fox News. It doesn't matter that Jesse Waters reaches more people than Dave Smith. Dave Smith's more honest than Jesse Waters. And that's just one example. It's like, that's what's interesting to me. So, I'm just having a moment of realness, but the way everybody else thinks, they think you only want money or attention. I've made money. I've gotten attention. And I did it without selling my soul. And I did it without a big corporation. And I did it without running another company first to make a bunch of money and then implant myself in the industry. You can't be me. You can't do what I do. So let's just treat each other with respect and be honest about it. Let's not talk down to each other. Let's not, because if you talk that way to me, then that's what I'm thinking, but that's how it goes. And then sometimes when people want to give me unsolicited advice, like they think I want to be them. Do I want certain things? Sure. I want to work smart. I definitely am I'll work with somebody if it makes sense. But if me working with you in any way sacrifices that, then I'm out. Then I don't want to do it because I didn't get into this to see how much money I could make. I didn't get into this to see how famous I could be. I got into this for the right reasons. I've maintained the right reasons. And it's like, I'm not impressed by these material things. Cool. I've met richer people. Cool. I've met more famous people. Cool. I've met athletes that are cooler than you and they're cooler than you. They're cool. Like they don't act that way. So you're not smoke and mirrors. It doesn't matter to me. And with all that being said, I have a lot more to accomplish and a lot more to do. But during COVID, who was there? Who did good reporting? Some people did, but where were all these people? Where was Vivek? Where was him? Like, I don't remember them. Maybe they were doing something. Sure. But it's like, to me, that's more interesting. It's like locked inside, have a computer. Like I work my ass off, not just for the American people, but for myself, for the people of the world for years straight, barely even going outside because this was crunch time for humanity. I wasn't selling insurance. I wasn't selling pharmaceuticals. I wasn't playing the fence. I wasn't, I was cranking out very important content to help people for years straight. I got rewarded for it, but at the same time, it's like, I don't know. I'm not like, people think I'm impressed. Like when Vivek came out and everyone's like, you're just a hater. I'm not a hater, but if you think I'm stupid enough to think that a pharmaceutical billionaire that nobody knew 3 months ago is on our side, I'm sorry. I hate to be the guy, but it's like, I don't know what else to do. It's just like, I'm thinking to myself, how does everyone else not see that? Where was this guy in 2020, 2021, 2022? What was he saying of value? What was he doing? Why did he just pop up now? Why would I ever trust a pharmaceutical billionaire after what happened during COVID? And I want, if I had to choose, the next leader should be somebody who showed that they stand up for the people and conservatives during the lockdown. Like I want somebody that put their money where their mouth is and really did something. To be honest, I don't even like or trust Ron DeSantis, but Ron DeSantis was more trustworthy than Vivek. Yeah, he's a shill for a foreign country. And yes, Ron DeSantis takes donor money, but he did more than Trump. He did more than Vivek. He hired Joseph Ladapo, who's not a pharmaceutical shill, who's better than people Trump hired. Like, why? Now I'm the bad guy because I don't like, we all like Vivek. Yeah, you all do a lot of things that I don't understand. Everybody's so easy to trick. Like, at least DeSantis proved that he did something for us during the lockdown. Vivek was running around doing pharmaceutical deals. And then he pops up on Fox News or whatever, and now he's our great MAGA hero. I don't know if it's intuition or discernment, but certain people, and listen, we all have gifts. So I've come to the conclusion maybe not everybody has the same gift, so they're good at other things. But discernment, instinct. How could you listen to that guy, Vivek, and be like, oh yeah, I trust him instinctually? First time, I'm like, dude, I would never listen to this guy for more than 5 minutes. Like, he's so fake. Like, just the way he talks. He sounds like a high schooler who wears boat shoes. I'm going to be the class president one day. I love Ronald Reagan. My father was a Republican. All right, bro, relax. It's high school. Join a sport or, join the marching band or something. Be a nerd. Nobody likes the guy who wants to be a politician. Like, the fakest people want to be a politician in high school. No authentic kid is like, I want to be the class president. All right, bro, relax. Like, they talk like it's like they're already trying to like sell me insurance or something. And it's like high school. They're like, when I'm the class president, I'll do it all for. It's like, bro, what are you, like a freaking car salesman at 15 years old? How is that normal? That's how Vivek sounded to me. He's just like Obama. He's like, I'm just a silly little kid with a funny name, with a funny It's like, bro, Obama already said that, dude. There's no way you came up with that. And there's no way you didn't know Obama said that. You're just thinking Obama tricked a bunch of people and he used like the minority card. Like, I'm just a funny little last name, but I'm just like you kids. All right, Vivek, get ready for your high school speech. Make sure you read it. Don't worry, mommy. I read it. I'm going to be my best. I'm going to tell the kids my speech. Like, everything's so fake. And then I'm the bad guy for 2 years. Everybody's mad at me. Anomaly, you're just a hater. You're just jealous. Oh yeah, I'm so jealous of a pharmaceutical billionaire. I just wish I was Albert Bourla. That's it, folks. I never was against pharmaceuticals. I just really wish I owned Pfizer. I'm just being sarcastic, but you get what no, I'm not jealous of people who do things that I wouldn't do. There's things I could do immorally to make more money that I don't want to do now. I wouldn't do it then either. But anyway, it's like, and then 2 years later, everybody's like, oh yeah, no, he's kind of corny. But it's like, I don't know. Instincts. Some people have it. I think like when I talk to somebody in person too, it's the same thing. Like, some people are good at tricking people, but like, I like energy. I like people that are calm and like very, like very authentic. I don't like chaos. I don't like all right, bro. What do you want to sell me a car? You got a lemon in the back. You got a used Toyota with 300,000 miles that you turn the thing on. I don't get it. Someone said your show sucks. I've been trying my best out here. and then someone bullies me. That's why I don't want to scale my show, because then I'll just start crying. No, I'm just kidding. I don't care. But on that note, I got to go. It's 2 hours and 30 minutes. I said it was going to be an hour and 30 minutes, but sometimes I'm in the mood. I got something to say, and I try to ride that energy while I do. But I'll be back. Appreciate everybody that listened. Appreciate everybody that commented. Yeah, I'm going to interview, like I said, I told people who earlier this week, and it was totally coincidental because I asked them to interview a few weeks ago. But I'm excited for that. And yeah, I might have some more guests every now and then sometime soon, but I do have an idea for someone else too. I haven't announced it yet, but I will. As I make sure that my camera and stuff's working properly, I'm going to start doing a little bit more. I just wanted to get everything right before that happened. Appreciate y'all. God bless you. Have a beautiful day. And I'll be back very soon.